get
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah. There you go. You're live now.
I'm yeah,
Hello,
I'm
everybody.
not really saying anything now, but this is when it goes. You can see when it's going to go live. Okay. All right. I'm going to everybody notice that you can come up. Now, how do I share this with moments? Uh,
Which part? What
Deb,
do you mean the
like
link
share
to
it
it?
on my channel. Right now,
It
I'm just
is.
on StreamYard. How do I
You're
share
live
it to
on
my YouTube?
YouTube right now.
Oh, okay. That's what I didn't know. Okay, didn't
Yeah.
understand. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. You're live on your Mona Moments right now, and I'm on there with you.
Okay, that's good.
And that's
Hi,
all you have to
everybody.
do.
Hey, everybody, as you come in, can you please push the thumbs up? You're going to
Yeah,
like this
definitely.
one. This is going to be the Branson Board of Aldermen meeting are going to be discussing on the agenda how they are going to deal with the drag queen adult entertainment shows being in Branson, Missouri.
Sounds like a good show.
It's going to be, I really think. Uh, from what I heard, see, I went to the last board meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, and to talk about the convoy of honor coming to Branson. But while I was there, I got to hear the city attorney state his proposal on how the city can deal with it without being sued by, some outside, people. You know. So uh, they didn't want to get themselves in any trouble with being discriminatory. So it looks like they're going to set aside a very certain part of the city where that can be allowed. And they got to have a permit and insurance and all of that good. They can't stop them from coming, but the city has the ability, just like they told me I couldn't bring a rally because I'd have to have $6 million worth of insurance and pay cops overtime and all of this, and I had to have a city permit. Well,
Yes, it is.
sounds sounds like that's what they're going to do. Okay.
What's up, U-Haul?
Hey, 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 you all. Hey, JJ Jones, how you doing? Great to see you all this evening. I got coerced and I got convinced that I should live stream tonight's City of Branson Board of Alderman meeting. So here in a little while, I can't read it. It's too small on my screen. Any bigger. All right. Anyway, tonight is going to start here in 66 minutes. So we got 66 minutes to discuss how everybody feels about drag queen shows. Go ahead. Drag queen means to be, actually, they just changed the word. That's a problem. If they'd come here and called their show a female impersonation show and had changed just a little bit of their uh, performance and made it so it was appropriate for families. These guys were really talented. I know people that did see their show that they did have here, and as I am told that they are very talented. If they just do away with the language and all of the stuff that belongs in the bedroom kind of stuff, then, but no, they wanted to try to organize a gay parade in Branson, a town of 6 mile radius that has over 40 churches in it. Every show has a gospel spot, and every show has a patriotic moment, and it's all about faith, family, and the flag. Are you kidding me? That went over like a lead balloon, honey. There was these past board meetings. There was standing room only, and 3 hours of speakers signed up at 5 minutes apiece.
Hey, Mona.
Yeah.
The link that you gave me to
Mm-hmm.
join the StreamYard, if
Yeah.
you want, you can put it in the chat, and U-Haul and them can come up too and talk.
Can't you put it in the chat?
I'm not a moderator. I can't.
How do I make you a moderator?
Go on to your YouTube and you'll see my name in the chat. You click on my name and then you click on add channel moderator.
Okay. Okay. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Let me get over here at my own YouTube. I ain't even on my own YouTube. Dang it. Home. Uh, I didn't even have my channel up.
Yeah, you don't have to have it up while you're streaming in StreamYard.
No, so I didn't have it up. So I'm giving it a moment to open.
Yeah.
As soon as it opens up, I'll have all those up. I'll go over here.
I might have to stream it for you. I might have to share my screen because your internet keeps cutting out. You get paused every 5 seconds. I'm hearing like for 5 seconds you're talking, it's fine, and then you pause for like a second, and then you come back. I don't know why. I guess your internet's having issues or something.
That better? Huh?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I got rid of the. I had my YouTube up and it was causing an echo, and I had to get that all taken care of.
Yeah.
And I'll probably have to go over here and shut the sound off when the meeting starts too.
Oh wow, it let me post the link. Look at that.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. There's the link if you want to come in the what do you call it? If you want to come into the StreamYard, there's a link for you to come up and talk. Just be careful who you let up, Mona. There's been a lot of people coming on using fake names.
You're a manager moderator. You should. You're a manager moderator. You should be able to do that too.
Nope. They don't give you that power.
I can. All right.
The only thing a managing moderator can do
they'll
is
pop up down here at the bottom. Post links. Anyway, they'll be down here at the bottom.
Yeah, just make sure it is who they are before you let them up. There's been a lot of porn bombing going around.
You're cutting out horribly on my end.
Can you hear me now?
Guys in the chat, I can hear you now. We're not breaking up anymore. You was real choppy on the audio.
Yeah, I think your internet's going low.
Mine?
Yeah. Caitlin says they hear us both fine. So it might be just StreamYard having an issue.
Yeah, the heat is right now it's 100 degrees here, not counting the heat index.
107 today here.
Now you ain't got this humidity.
Yeah, true.
I don't know what. Let me look and see what the feels like temperature is.
Jay Jones says, "Is there any updates on Veterans Day?" I think we might have lost Mona. Nope, she's still there. She's frozen though. Or are you playing Frozen, Mona? Twitch your face, your nose, or something. Say something. Yep, I think she froze. Something wrong with her internet, I guess. She'll be back. Yeah, I think her internet froze on her. Playing possum, huh? She's good at that too. I tell you what. One night we were sitting there at Wendy's playing games and stuff, and we all just like were wondering why Mona wasn't talking. And we looked over, and she just was like, it looked like she was frozen for like an hour. And I was like, Mona, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm here." We couldn't. I couldn't like. We couldn't tell that she was just sitting there perfectly still for like an hour. But no, she lost connection. She'll be back. There she is. She's back.
Yeah, it's a
Well, she's
hundred.
back.
It feels like they say it feels like 102 outside.
Yeah. You might want to give me the link to the YouTube, and I'll share it from my end because your internet's cutting out because you were sharing the screen.
Okay.
I'll share it from my end for you.
All right.
Just paste it up in the private chat, and I'll
I
open it
am.
up.
I'm trying to get to it, honey.
All right, cool.
Why
Sorry.
can't I see private chat? Oh, I got my screen too big. Okay. All right. How do I find the chat?
I said hi. It's over on your right side. You
Yeah.
should see private chat.
It says private chat. Okay, I
Yep.
found it. I had my screen too big. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We got to get you some bigger monitors. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, there's the window. It
Yes,
is
Catherine. I'll
open.
play possum. Just you guys, if you say something, Mona, move. Are you there? I'll do something, but I can sit here like this forever.
Yeah, I know.
So, uh,
There we go. It's ready. It's ready for you to pull up.
okay,
There you go.
okay.
So whenever they go live, I'll just press play.
That'll work.
I'm gonna actually subscribe just because. There we go. I subscribed to 400 and some people yesterday.
So I can go ahead and shut it off on my computer.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
that'll free up more resources on your computer too.
Yeah.
Mona goes wide open most of the time, Jay Jones says. Any updates on Veterans Day?
Okay, what we've got going right now looks like it's going to be pretty good if we can just get a few more participants. All right, on the 7th, we set up on the 4th, and Millie's Pizza from down the road from the Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater will be serving pizza by the slice that evening. It is setup day. We will have the snack bar open. Then we also have that'll be our night of meeting and greeting and talking and going over old times and sitting around fire and just chewing the fat. Okay, that's on the 4th. On the 5th, everybody get your performance on, okay? Because I believe that's open mic night. You get 5 minutes to say whatever it is you want to say, sing, dance, do a mime, juggle. I don't care, but you get 5 minutes on the clock. So y'all gonna have to get to practicing and figuring out what it is y'all want to do that evening, starting at around 5 o'clock in the evening, between 5 and 7. We don't know yet on the advertisement with that and how we're going to set up at Black Oak Mountain, but we're going to do it. And then on the 7th is the Battle of the Bands. Oh, we got Black Note Band, local band here. They're all excited. Got all of their motorcycle gang groups excited. They filled the bar with just their supporters the other night. So, and they're talking about, and they are so tickled to be part of the Battle of the Bands. Now, how this Battle of the Band is going to work, there's no entry fee. What it is, we are having a Battle of the Bands to raise funds through the awareness of PTSD amongst first responders and our military. Each band has to attempt to get votes, be that online chat votes or be that in the audience votes. Each vote will cost $1. The band that raises the most money for the awareness and help for those suffering from PTSD through USA Superheroes will win a percentage portion of 50% of the money raised goes to first, second, and third place. The rest of it goes to the USA Superheroes 501c3 charity organization. You've got $150. Come in on the 4th, cost you $150 to get a campsite, a site. That site is expected to measure 10 feet by 20 feet. There'll be in different layouts and directions before long. I hope to be posting on the Convoy of Honor Facebook page the actual layout of the camping site and vending sites. Vendors are welcome. It is $150 for each 10 by 20 site. And I don't care whether you put a 10 on it, a car on it, 2 tents on it, I don't care, but that's the space. And it's $150 whether you stay one night or you stay 4 or you stay all 8 nights and 9 days. Whatever. That $150 covers 2 people per site. Added people cost $25 extra, and that is because we have trash bags, we have potties pump out, we have brunch. Every day, a camper or vendor receives a free brunch every morning from, I believe the girls are going to open up at 9 and close at 11:30, okay, for brunch. That brunch comes with that $150. I'm gonna feed you for uh 8 days, 8 nights, or days and nights, and you're gonna that's cheap. I don't care what anyone says, that's dang cheap, and that's just to cover our costs. That's all. So we're so grateful to have Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater, and a portion of that money, matter of fact, one third of $150, do the math, has to go to Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater, as though they are giving us flushing toilets and hot and cold running water, a snack bar, a beer garden, a stage, a lighting and sound system, and lights for the parking lot, and access to power. I think that's pretty good. Okay? I hope y'all agree. Now, very quick soon, we hope to be able to have a way that you can make a reservation online and pay through the Cash App Bug Tussling, and we can get your reservation in, and you make a $50 deposit on your particular site. You'll actually be able to reserve. Yeah, I want to be in site 83, or I'd like to take, because you'll be able to look at some kind of topographical map that will tell you what site you're in. So please stay tuned to the Facebook event page. You do not have to belong to Facebook or be a member of Facebook. It's published publicly in order to see the Convoy of Honor event page. So, and if anybody's out there thinks of ideas of ways that they can help me to get more bands, I have one. Now, that band has taken the 6 p.m. slot. I have both 5 and 7, 4 and 8. We must not play past 10 p.m. So everything has to shut down at 9 or
M
9:30.
Mona, MGB wants to know when the Convoy of Honor is going to be. What they
Convoy of Honor starts on November the 4th of this year, of 2023. It ends on November the 12th of 2023. Setup day is the 4th, teardown date is the 12th. We are asking for vendors. We are asking for patriots. That's what it is. It's a big patriot reunion. If you love this country, right, wrong, or indifferent, if you love this country, you are invited to come along. On the 9th of November is the actual stroll. See, we can't have a convoy. Okay. The city would require that I have $6 million worth of insurance and permits and pay for law enforcement. So we couldn't have a convoy in Branson. So we're going to have a stroll. They didn't have any regulations for a stroll. So we're going to take a stroll around Branson. We will be pulling out, escorted by the Highway Patrol out of Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater, taken to across the dam to 165 and down to the Welk Theater parking lot, where we will begin to line up and get prepared for our very loud, very proud patriot stroll through the most patriotic city in the entire United States. So, y'all know last year we didn't have a lot of support. We got a whole lot more this year because folks don't have to stay home to vote. They come on out. On the 9th, we have the Freedom Experience Theater. We have 2,000 seats. Okay? That little ID tag and or bracelet that you wear as a vendor or a camper guarantees you one seat in that theater. All the rest of the seats will be put up for sale to the general public. But during the day, after we return from our stroll, which takes us down from Welk Theater down 165 to Country Boulevard 76, We make a right there. We go all the way down 76 till we get to the landing. We make a left at the landing, where we then travel up 248, down past Veterans Boulevard, and on up to Roark Valley Road, where we will make another right hand turn and then a left hand turn up to the on Shepherd of the Hills, and travel to 76 Country Boulevard, making another left and traveling back to 165, making a right on 165, and going to the Yellow Ribbon Theater Road or to the Freedom Experience Theater, at which time our truckers will be asked to display themselves in the upper closest to the theater parking lot. We hope to have some vendors set up in the lobby. That's a huge lobby in that theater. We have speakers that are inviting to come and have moments where they speak. There will be a entry fee to listen to the speakers. You might have to pay $1 unless you are one of our reunion compadres that's spending the night and days with us, like we did at Hagerstown. Okay, so I'm hoping that it will be a lot of fun. There's no drama allowed, by the way. No profanity, no violence, and no drama. Let's try to keep it God, family, and the flag. Let's try to figure out how to, once again, love each other, whether we liked each other or not. Okay? I didn't like my brother Merle very much at all. I really didn't. But I loved him. And I wouldn't let nobody else talk bad about him because he's my brother. But I could. Okay? That was my privilege. But there was a time when we didn't care about our little petty differences. We figured it out. If we don't learn how to hold hands, okay, buddy up, stay together, have some camaraderie, we're going to lose this country.
I'm sorry, I gotta say something real quick. I posted the wrong Convoy of Honor Facebook. That's the old one.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
have a new one?
Honey, I believe it's just the date changed on the old one.
Okay, because the old one still says it's the same date.
It is the same days.
Which, well, no, it still says 2022. Is it the one with the picture of the flag with "We the People," or is it the other one? There's another one with a picture of
let me open it up.
Convoy of Honor.
Yeah, let me open it up here real quick.
Because there's two different ones, and I don't know which one.
I'll open it up real quick and post the link on here. It's easy for me to get to.
Okay.
I go to it every day, so
yeah, I think the one that
it's just that my computer's working a little slow because of the heat.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, I got the right one. I'm copying it. Coming back, and I'm pasting it. I'm just putting it in the comments. I want everybody to have it anyway.
Okay. Yeah, every couple minutes I'm going to post it so you have it. Yeah, see, I wasn't pasting the right one. Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, so that way you can go see what happened last year. What we were like last year.
This is the third one.
No, this is second. This is second annual Convoy of Honor.
Second. Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's 4 Convoy of Honors on Facebook.
Because different groups are promoting it in their areas.
Ah, okay, I got you.
You never put your eggs in one basket.
Okay, so that's why I had the wrong link. I'm sorry about that, people.
Okay. Mine shows me as the host.
Yeah, everybody out. The other ones were other people. Sorry about that.
Yeah. See, they're kind of hosting their group in their area to convoy out to this area. They're kind of hosting all over. The people's movements of every 50 states have been notified of this. So I hope that many of them come. This is going to be the biggest gathering of Americans in history.
Ending up at what theater?
We're going to be at the Freedom Experience Theater in Branson, Missouri. Yes, on the return trip. In other words, we take the Wilk, we go all the way out to 76, down to the landing, around the town, back 165 till we get to the Freedom Experience Theater behind where Sonic used to be. It's some kind of burrito place now, just past that shopping mall.
Burritos. You're
Yeah,
making me hungry. Talking about food.
yeah. It used to be a Sonic store, and Sonic went out of business there, couldn't keep employees, and now it's some kind of drive-through burrito place. I don't eat burritos, so I ain't never been there. But we've also will there's no one in there's businesses are closed in that parking lot at mall except over on the other end. And if we have to have overflow parking, we'll just take it because the police department has decided they're not going to screw with us because we brought in a lot of revenue last year when we got the Freedom Experience, the Great Awakening tour to come here. They had to move from the Freedom Experience Theater over to the Mansion Theater because they sold out of seats, and the Freedom only has 2,000 seats, and the Mansion has 3,000, and they were sold out. And Branson finally figured out, oh, wait a minute, this Convoy of Honor thing may not be a bad idea for our economy. Right? You could go on to this Branson, City of Branson, Missouri website or page and go back and listen to the last Board of Aldermen meeting where I was the second speaker. And all I did was come in to inform them that my Convoy of Honor was coming. And we
That,
were going to be longer.
and well, you also gave them passes too. I
Yes,
watched that. You're
longer,
like you'll
louder.
see in front of you passes to be VIPs at the Convoy of Honor. I
Play.
watched that stream.
And one of those aldermen is a star in his own right, and that's Mr. Clay Cooper. He owns the Clay Cooper Theater here, which used to be the Osmond Theater. So, yeah, I didn't ask for their opinion. I didn't ask for their approval. I asked for their support. I told them that it would be really nice if they were to pay to have a big old banner on the outskirts of town that says "Welcome Convoy of Honor." That would be really nice of them. Or the city of
Yeah.
Branson welcomes the Convoy of Honor. Wouldn't that be
MGB
cool? Huh?
MGB has a question for you, Mona.
Okay.
Mona, you live in Branson. I have a totally unrelated question. Do you know what happened to Tony Roy and what they're up to?
Okay. The last time I heard about Tony Roy had committed himself to rehab. Okay, I've not heard from Tony since I heard that. It's on the Branson Buzz kind of thing that he had submitted himself into rehab. Tony got a little he got a little problem, and he's working on it. And I don't know. He should be just about ready to go back on the stage by now. It's been quite a while, so hopefully he finished the program and comes out on better on the other side.
Well, that's good. That's always good news to hear somebody actually went to rehab, and that's always a good sign if they actually do it.
Yeah, but I think I heard someplace that Tony Roy was coming back, or what? To either you get all kinds of things on the Branson Buzz, and I've learned to believe half of what you see and none of what you read. Okay.
MGB said that they had a horrible accident too.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard about that one. I'm sorry. I don't listen to a lot of, I probably should, really local news because honey, they don't, it's a tourist town. And for some reason, they don't publicize those kind of things too much here. Now, they may have, with it being Tony Roy, may have, okay? I don't know, but I get out of touch a lot because I'm working on the Convoy of Honor. This is work, especially when I got one person doing it. Okay. I wish to God I knew somebody that knew how to put a spreadsheet together and organize email addresses and phone numbers into something that I wouldn't have to sit here and go to do, but could just click on, the letter and go down if I'm looking for a certain name or a certain business. I remember the ice storm. I like I said, I'm not up a lot on uh the stars of Branson. There's so many anymore, and Tony's been around a long time. Tony performed for many of my bus groups that came here. They love Tony. I've had Tony come into the restaurant where they would be eating and walk around and shake hands. And oh, I want to tell you what, them 50, 60 something little old ladies on them buses, woo, baby, they loved it when somebody like that came walking around, shaking hands, getting pictures, and giving out hugs. And was very good at that. Very good. He played that Elvis persona. Maybe he played it a little too far. That's what the Globe said. That maybe he had played it just a little too far. Okay, you know that's all in a matter of people's opinion. Okay, I didn't care for the 70s Elvis. Okay,
Honka
I
honka
like
no.
I like the early Elvis, the kissing cousin, movie star singing Elvis, the military Elvis. That was my Elvis. So when you ask me whether he was a good Elvis impersonator who wore sparkly suits and did lots of movements on a stage singing, I'd have no way of knowing. I have nothing to compare it to. I quit what my girlfriend and we played house a lot, and we were married. And I was married to Ricky Nelson because she was married to Elvis Presley. Okay? So I was never the Elvis Presley fan, I was the Ricky Nelson fan. However, a one of the young men who plays in my was in my hootenanny last year, and I expect him to be willing to return. His name is Bobby Allen, and he's about to give little Tony Roy a run for his money. Number one, he's young. Tony's not so young anymore. Okay, I'm sorry, moving them hips takes its toll on a person, and he's got a really good voice. And I think he could give Tony Roy a run for his money. In fact, he has his own show here in town, and God forgive me, I can't think of the name of it right at the moment, but his father, Keith Allen, was also an Elvis impersonator, and he is now a Neil Diamond impersonator. and his wife Diana has the voice of an angel. And I'm hoping I can get not only Bobby Darin, but Keith Allen and uh, Diana to also perform at my Hootenanny. I've got Dr. Dale's working on entertainers. He should be able to give me a list here in the next couple of weeks. Uh, so I do have some help. That uh, come on. Oh, you're telling them if they want to come on. Okay, I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah, MGB's been talking of a storm in the chat. I figured they'd want to come on.
Come on in and talk. We got how much time before the board meeting starts?
30 minutes. 29 and 16, 15, 14, 13,
Okay.
12 seconds.
Okay. So come on in and shoot the bull. You know, take your 5 minutes of open mic time. Enjoy it.
Jay Jones says,
huh?
Jay Jones says, will the nice black guitar player be there? He said he got a gig with Tony Orlando.
He had a meeting with Tony that never fell through. Tony's not always a man of his word. You know, God love him and he has his place in heaven. But yes, Steve Spurgeon is definitely going to be there. Matter of fact, him and I have been talking. He's going to be helping me put together a actual concert for the 11th, which is actually Veterans Day. We'll all go out and go to the parade. All of us vets are going to eat free at different restaurants in Branson and have a good day. And then at 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock on the 11th, we are going to have a concert. And that's who's going to be in concert? Well, we know it's going to be Steve Spurgeon and others to be announced. Guys, it's July.
MGB, are you talking about making reservations for the Convoy of Honor or something else? Because if so,
he's asking him if do we need to make reservations, Jay? I said, you guys, in the discussion page on the Convoy of Honor, go to the discussion page. In the comment section, write down any pertinent. You don't have to give up your life story, okay? But you need to include your email address and what date you would plan to arrive and how many are in your group and how many $150 spaces are you wanting to accommodate? Okay.
Do you want to go ahead and explain explain that part to them?
Yes.
Like $150 is for the tickets and what all it includes.
Okay. $150 includes a 10 by 20 parking space for your RV, tent, car, whatever, vendor tent, whatever. Each parking space is $150. Now, this also, but for that $150, you get free brunch every day. You get 10% off at the food trucks. You get 10% off at the snack bar. You get free tickets to the Battle of the Bands, the open mic night, the karaoke night, the dance night, and the concert night. The 9th is our trip to Branson, and it's a day in which we enjoy Branson. The 10th is a day for you to go back and do whatever you want to do. It's a down day. The 11th morning of the 11th, we are early into Branson for the Veterans Day parade. You go on your own, you get or group up. whatever. Go have lunch. There's lots of places that feed vets for free on that day. Lots of them. There's a list of them that I'll have at the Convoy of Honor so that everybody can see who's going to be feeding free that next day. On the 12th, that's pick it up day, okay? Man, you're going to leave it better than we found it. This man has let us have this huge amphitheater. You're welcome to go on Google Earth and look it up. It's Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater, Lampe, Missouri. Go look it up. If you want to, you can go on Convoy of Honor Eric Mechanic drone footage. After we all left last year, he did a drone footage to show everybody how it's supposed to look when you leave. Okay? And it will. This man has been very generous to allow us to have this for just $50 for the week per person. We're charging $150 because we got extras. Okay? If y'all want to bring something, remember we're camping. We need trash bags. We need milk. We need eggs. We need bread. We need bacon, sausage, breakfast stuff, milk for gravy. Maybe some Pioneer gravy mixes would be nice. Whatever. We're going to try to serve a good brunch, which will include sandwiches like tuna salad sandwiches, and chicken salad sandwiches, and bologna and cheese and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Okay? Something you can put in a sack lunch in case you decide you want to go down the river and skip rocks or the lake. It's only 3, maybe 4 miles down the road to the state park marina where you can go fish, skip rocks, whatever. But remember, it is November, folks. Last year, for the opening day, it rained. Mama got a swimming pool in her kitchen on the roof. It poured. Well, it only poured till about noon. Sun popped out. We had beautiful weather, about 75 degrees for the rest of the week. And at night it get chilly. That's why you have a bonfire. And then on the last day, Veterans Day, the 11th, that afternoon, the bottom dropped out of the dank temperature and the snow went to falling and it got cold as a short Indian in a tall in a deep snow. Don't you know it's our cojones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I was going to ask. Are you going to have like bonfires and stuff like that?
Every night,
Oh,
every night
sweet. That
we'll
sounds fun.
have our fire. Uh, and I am looking if anyone lives around Branson or plans to come to the event and has a trailer that could double as a hay ride, where we could put the hay bales around and get folks to climb up in there and go for a hay ride, and they could pull it up and down the hill. The upper parking lot to the lower parking lot is not a bad walk down, but it's a killer walking back up.
Okay, Jay Jones, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe and share button.
Yeah, be sure and watch it
Um,
later. We'll see how Branson handles this ordeal.
yeah, we got 21 minutes until they go live. Do you
Okay.
want to explain to everybody what is going on with all the BOA stuff, and so they're up to date when it goes live?
All right. Okay. What had happened is here a few months back, a promoter of got a Mexican restaurant here in Branson to host a drag queen show. This town is made up of a whole bunch of Southern Baptists and high Pentecostal Protestants, Methodist people, and they didn't like that at all. They heard drag queen. You're immediately going to try pushing something on our children, and that ain't happening here. You see, when the Black Lives Matter showed up one day, They were protesting our Dixie Outfitter store because their sign was a Dixie flag, and they were going to protest the store. That was okay as long as they stayed on their side of the street. Because what they discovered when they arrived at their protest time, permit time, they found a whole bunch of hillbillies. And this is an open carry state, and every last one of them was exercising their rights. And it was made very, very clear. You have a right to protest. You got a right to scream and yell all you want. And we got a right to blast our gospel music while you blast your profanity. And we did. But they knew if they walked across that street, we wouldn't stop till they were all not breathing. That's a rule. It's kind of like, code of the hills. Kill them all and let God sort them out. So they didn't walk across the street. They were just as safe as in their mama's arms as long as they protest over there. We believe in freedom of speech. Okay? Just as we believe in our right to bear arms. It's okay. Well, they thought the convoy of honor the city did last year, they thought this convoy of honor was going to be something like BLM. It was going to be a big old protest. And they found out that that was not the case. Not even close. It wasn't a bunch of screaming and yelling profanity, except for one. We had one show up, but that's okay. Every batch of apples got at least one bad one in it. Anyhow, and they are just excited for us to come out of their mouths, whether they put their actions behind it or not. I hope it's part of the discussion this time. I hope they put a discussion on the agenda. I didn't look at the agenda before uploading that. So I want to find out if they are, if they're planning to actually bring it up and put maybe some of that Branson advertising funds towards helping to promote the Convoy of Honor. Now remember, folks, I got maybe 1,000 campsites. 1,000. We had a whole lot more than that at Hagerstown. Okay. I got a cabin, and I got 4 sleeping spots left to rent out at $100 a night. I'll put it this way, it's costing me $800 for 9 days and 8 nights in these cabins that are maybe an eighth of a mile from the entrance of the Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater. Okay? And they sleep 8 people. I got them for $800 for the entire week. If I can get 8 people to stay in the one cabin where they could have a hot and cold shower, have coffee in the morning, go back and rest in between things going on, whatever, it would only cost each of us $100. Well, I've got, presently I have 4. So now we're down to the expense of $200 a piece. Each time someone agrees to come and stay with us in the cabin, and sorry guys, I believe that there's only 2 sexes. And because of that, this is going to be an all-girls cabin. Okay, she's got 8 of them, so it's Black Oak Mountain Lodges in Lampe, Missouri. You can Google it. Okay. So anybody got any questions for me about anything? I'll do my best to answer them. All I know is how long before this thing starts?
We got 15 minutes and 41 seconds.
Okay.
I don't see anybody in chat. There's 3 viewing, but
Okay.
nobody's talking in chat.
Okay. They're waiting for it to come on. Tell you what, this could be a circus tonight. I'm not there. I'm not contributing to their circus. I told them people, I told them drag queens, I told them they should have called themselves female impersonators and they wouldn't have been so venomous. But this town, I'm telling you what, ooh, the venom came out and folks all talking about this is a Bible town faith family flag in that order. Okay. Uh,
Do you want to give Wendy a call and let her know that you're live and what's going on? Maybe she'll want to come and watch
I'll try here.
if she has time. She might be dealing with a lot of heat right now because it's super hot here today. So, and she's north of me, so
I'm live. Oh, I hope it's. I hope everything's okay. Oh, all right, honey. My prayers are with you. Okay. Yeah, we're waiting on the Branson Board of Aldermen meeting. They're supposed to be discussing what they've decided to do about adult entertainment in Branson. Okay. So we're gonna watch it on the live. Okay. Alrighty, honey. Bye bye. Um, she's visiting a friend in the hospital. So guys, let's send our prayers to uh, that way. Uh,
oh,
if
I'm
you do
sorry to
that,
hear that.
yeah, if you do that sort of thing. Uh, yeah. Oh, Jay, you're talking about Steve Spurgeon, the one who wrote "Let's Save America." Yeah, great song. Oh, what do you guys all think of the new "In a Small Town"? That fits Branson. I love that song. Oh, by what's his name? Aldine. The new song that's gone number 1 with all the small town people.
Don't
Okay.
think I've ever heard it.
Oh, honey, you need to hear this song. They're having big old controversies over it. Oh, yes, it went and jumped to number 1. Country music took him off of country
Oh,
music
okay. Yeah, I
TV.
know what you're talking about now. Yeah, they
Yeah,
canceled them on CMT. Yep.
yeah. You ain't heard the song?
Yeah, I heard it the other night.
Yeah, try that in a small town. Oh yeah,
Yeah, like
that's what
everybody's talking
BLM
about it.
did. BLM tried it in a small town. Then they had this audacity to try it the following weekend in Harrison, Arkansas. Arkansas, of all places. They got I believe they had a bigger reception when they got down there to the square in Harrison because there was them folks practicing their First Amendment rights wrapped all the way around that courthouse. I was like, well, yep, that's what happens when you bring that kind of BS to a small town in Missouri and Arkansas. You know, they thought they was going to try it over in little bitty tiny Omaha, and found out all the residents of Omaha figured they were all nothing but wasps and had all armed themselves with whole bunches of wasp spray. Okay, they all decided they didn't even want to try Omaha, Arkansas. So it's like that song. That song really fits for where I come from. Yeah, and I hope y'all get to come visit me here in the beautiful Ozarks. All right, we're getting up close on this alderman meeting. All right, folks. This is going to be much better for the meeting. Yes.
You
Okay,
haven't had your daily head licking.
there I am. I can't figure out this camera. I'm backwards on it. Always am. And guys, once the meeting's over, or if you get
Hey,
to,
Wendy.
oh,
Wendy says, "Howdy. Kind of watching. Can't hear too well, but I'm here."
all righty. Love you, darling. Love you, love you, love you. Give me a minute. I gotta find something wet.
10 minutes
Down my
till it
nose.
goes live. Just so you know,
How many?
10 minutes.
Oh, that's plenty of time for me to get me something to drink. All right. Got me some chocolate,
Here's a
some
link.
Butterfinger.
Here's a link to the Convoy of Honor Facebook, and here's the StreamYard link if anybody wants to come up and talk. We got 8 minutes and 22 seconds till the show goes live.
Okay. Yep. We're going to find out how Branson, Missouri handles these controversial questions. Is it a city I will be proud to be a part of, or one that's going to need another visit from me? Because this would be just the first reading. And if I know this town, the way I know this town, that dang place is going to be wall to wall people. The patriotism of this town shows through on things like this because people just show up.
Yeah. Hello, Wendy. Sorry that your friend's in the hospital. I hope they're doing okay. Many prayers from everybody to your friend.
How hot is it there, Wendy? We can tell you it's 99 here, but feels like 101.
107 here. Her friend says thank you. What? Wait. So I guess your friend can hear us. We're hoping that you have a speedy recovery for whatever's bothering you. And yeah, hope to see you up and out of that place because nobody likes to be in a hospital. That's one of the worst places you can end up being in.
Yeah, the food's usually pretty bad. Uh,
Actually, here in California, the food's actually really good. Like they don't use that frozen food. They actually cook you real meals.
they do that here too, but I was just, everybody says the food hospital is bad, like a prison hospital.
The Red Squirrel Show says, "Lol, what a joke."
LOL, laugh out loud. Well, guys, I got me a Butterfinger so I can keep my mouth shut once this thing starts so we can hear everything everybody's saying.
We got 5 minutes countdown.
This can make or break an alderman in Branson tonight.
Yeah.
This will be the fifth meeting that they've had with about that this subject has been like the center of the speaker's attention. Preacher guy by the name of Rick, I think his name is, shows up to every one of them. He's protesting the mRNA vaccine as being a bioweapon. And he takes his 5 minutes about every week, every meeting. So I would expect him to speak this evening.
Two minutes and 45 seconds. 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning.
Okay, they're going to open up with the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer.
I bet that Butterfinger is really good.
It is.
I haven't had a Butterfinger in a while.
I think the ones I missed are the sugar daddies. The caramel.
Oh, yeah, those are really good.
But I just recently figured out that I could suck on Butterfinger and pretty soon it would fall apart.
Yep.
I don't have no teeth.
And if you want, find a thing. It's called. Okay, Wendy. Wendy says, "On my way home now." If you can find a Fifth Avenue, it tastes like a Butterfinger, but it's really soft. And it's so good. Oh, that's my favorite candy bar.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the same ingredients as Butterfinger.
Yeah.
But it's soft in the center of it. And we're just now waiting on City of Branson to go live. The timer has timed out, so they should be going live any second. Let me know if you hear the audio or not once they go live.
It should be an interesting show. Make sure you grab your popcorn.
Oh yeah, the last one when you were on, that was a hoot.
Oh, I'm sure they're dreading to see if I are going to walk in the door, because they know if I was going to be there, I'd have been there for the uh, finance meeting that takes place just before this one.
I should type in there, "You're late, you're fired, get out." No, I'm kidding. They probably banned me for that one.
The room is full. I can almost guarantee that the room is full.
Probably, but they're late going live. They're exactly 10 seconds late.
No. They knew they was probably going to have a crowd. They just didn't know how big the crowd was going to be.
Be careful driving, Wendy. As soon as it goes live, I'll make it full screen.
Okay.
Because it doesn't give me that option until they actually start.
Yeah.
That's why you can still see my chat on the side and stuff.
Yeah.
Hi, baby. I can hear you over there barking. Baby, are you going to take over the stream this time again and take over Mona's seat? I was thinking about typing in 2 minutes late, but yeah, I'll shut up.
I would be typing in, "You're late, you're late, you're late."
Dang, that's all that's left of that thing is the peanut butter crunch.
Mm-hmm. But that's the part I can't crunch. That's the part I have to suck till it's gone.
Well, what you
Don't
could
take that
do,
the wrong way.
Mona, what you could do, which would be awesome, is get you one of those magic bullets, right? And you throw one of those in there and just throw a little bit of milk in with it and make it into a like a little a frothy.
I wish I had a bullet. I've got bullet cups.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Close executive session at first, and then it'll go from that into the open forum, correct?
Uh-huh.
That's what they did before, so.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting on them to do their opening statements and all that stuff that they do not stream. Once they're done doing that, oh, here they are. Let me know if you can hear the audio.
Meeting.
Not yet.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I was adjoining a meeting that we started earlier, but we had to go talk about stuff.
Still can't hear it very well.
Okay.
Yeah, their volume is very low.
If you would, please follow along with the Pledge of Allegiance and then an invocation from Ted Martin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
Good evening, board and guests. Please join me in prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for another beautiful day in the Ozarks. Father, we pause for just a moment to invite you in these chambers that as we look at an agenda on paper that tonight as we discuss the city of the business or the business of the city, that we do everything to honor and glorify you, that we're thoughtful and mindful as we go through this agenda tonight. Father, thanks for our board, for all the city employees that work hard for our guests, our residents, and our businesses each day. Father, we love you, praise you in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Ted. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Hinton,
Here.
Denham. Here. Cooper. Milton.
Here.
Howden.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
LeBlanc.
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. This is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen meeting. At this time, the board will hear from citizens who have signed up in the order they are listed. Please note the clerk will let speakers know when they have 30 seconds left, and a notification will be sound when their time is up. We ask that speakers wrap up their comments upon hearing this 30-second warning. Before we open up public comment, a suggestion I'm going to make. The very first agenda item we have is the ordinance that you're probably here to talk about. So we're obviously going to open this up for public comment. One thing to consider is after we open up the ordinance, the first agenda item, that's when you will get to hear what the facts are that you may want to address. I've heard a lot of things over the last couple of weeks that are inaccurate. And so maybe to try to save some time of hashing through the things that are inaccurate, we may have more educated questions and comments when you all know exactly what the ordinance at hand is. That make sense? I also want to comment that I've had calls. If anybody's here tonight asking this board to violate the Constitution of the United States, you're wasting your time. The majority of this board feels very strongly. We took an oath to uphold the Constitution, which we will, and more than just taking the oath, the majority of this board feels deep in their soul that they want to uphold the Constitution. So I've had comments made that forget the Constitution, we need to do what's in the Bible. Any of those comments, I'm just letting you know, will fall on deaf ears. So saying all that, if you would choose, if your choice is to wait till the ordinance is read and explained to share your comments, you can do that. And so we'll go down the list of who signed up. This says, Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Our first speaker is Richie Zates, 3000 Green Mountain, speaking on health.
There's Ricky.
I only have a limited amount of time, and I want to address a few things. First of all, it's I talked to many of you because I was in the trenches before you got in here. You said to me one time, Ralph, that what people do in their bedroom is nobody's business except them. But I want to remind you that God does see everything that goes on. He's omnipresent, so he sees everything. Another thing, you were saying something about a straight man molested you. But that wasn't a straight man. That was a pervert, okay? And many people have been molested. Many, many people have been molested.
Excuse me. Our protocol is you are here to address this board of Aldermen.
I am. I'm just addressing things that were said in this room.
I want you to look this way and talk to us.
Okay,
I'm not talking to them.
You're taking my time. So what I'm saying is we have to maintain purity in this town. We've had purity in that we have one of two options. Purity or an agenda for perversion, which there are groups that are trying to undermine the morality of this town, and really the target is children. And we see this in California. We see where they're basically saying if your child wants to change your sex and you say no, we'll take your child away. And then actually there are two issues which I'm involved in, and that was just one of them. The other one is the fact that And I see this as a very critical situation for our city, and there'll be facts brought out about this, statistics about it. And don't be intimidated by attorneys who are on the other side. We are here. We are the ones that pay for your seats up there and the hours that are put in this place. There's not thrones, there's seats. And so we, as the citizens, we have come here out of our own time to voice our opinions on this situation. And I don't think that there should be a vote to close this issue until we do further investigation and what the effects could be psychologically to the children who see these strange occurrences happening, which make them question their own selves. And if there's no display of this, we're not going to have questions. We're not going to be damaging the psychological effects will not be on the children. So I'm really concerned about the children. I'm really concerned about our society and really concerned about our city. I don't want to see our city destroyed morally. I don't want to see our tourists. And when I went into IMAX and I talked to people there, every single one of them says, I don't like this. I don't like this going on in our town. It was almost unanimous. Every single person said, we don't like this. They were coming from out of town, paying money. They said, I couldn't believe this was going on here. And I think all of us are kind of stunned by the situation. And like I said, stand up for what's right, what is moral. You're in theology, isn't that right? You're studying divinity. Well, that's what Jesus says. He says, if a man dresses like a woman or a woman dresses like a man, it's an abomination. That's what it's basically telling us. And this Constitution that you talk about was based upon the principles of the Ten Commandments. So we do go to the Bible in accordance with the rules and things that we use in our society to protect each other from people that would steal or lie or cheat. So we have to maintain the vigil to abide by those commandments. Those commandments were set into our Constitution that keep us free, that we're not a socialist state. We're not being taken over yet. But if you allow us, this is what happened to Rome. They got into immorality. Next thing you know, the whole society went down the tubes. You got to learn from the past. You got to see what's going on. I know you all of you. I was in the trenches with you. I was here protesting. I saw you being persecuted. I saw every one of you. I'm part of this. Don't just shun us like we're nothing. We're the speaking. We're the people that pay. We're the people that vote. Remember that. You're servants for the people, not our rulers. And we do not want this in this city. Please take this into consideration. And if it have to postpone the vote until we bring in more data about things that have happened and psychological damage that has happened, anyone can walk away from sin. We want people to get saved. But don't say I'm a Christian and a homosexual, because it says those people are not Christians. But if they cease and they decide not to do things which are immoral, they will be accepted by God, by Jesus Christ. And I saw that you were actually praying at the men's meeting a couple of years ago. So we all have a relationship with God. Every one of us is made by God. And I don't hate anybody, but I don't want to see people going to hell.
Amen. I like
Something
him.
I'm also going to ask from the audience is, if you would, I want to respect everybody's opinions and everybody's points of view, and I would ask that we refrain from booing, sneering, yelling out comments.
No one's booing
or
him.
clapping.
Shut up.
Everybody has
He
their
was
own
right.
individual opinion.
He's absolutely right.
But the mayor's responsible for keeping decorum.
This isn't the time. This isn't
Yeah, I
the
know.
question and answer time.
That's
That
all
was
about
That's a good
decorum,
point.
you know.
I thought that
Before
was
we
out
call
of
the next
context.
speaker, Hillary, I don't know who can do it, but
No, that's the mayor speaking.
Really?
He's
I mean,
we need to.
keep the decorum
I'd
down.
like to wipe off that microphone, please.
Yeah, Rick did a whole bunch of spitting in that microphone.
Sorry for you. Ew.
I don't.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you hold a second? I understand that.
You'll have to wipe it off after
This is gonna sound great.
It's okay.
It's gotta be good.
Thank you. I'm going to keep those wipes handy there.
Hey,
Jack.
just leave.
Okay, Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Our next speaker is Rick Adams, 1434 Point Royale, speaking on drag queens.
Here it is, Mona. This is what you were waiting for.
I knew it was going to happen.
Oh boy, he looks pissed.
Hello, my name is Rick Adams.
Rick, thank you for serving.
You're welcome. I know Ruth. I know Ralph. I don't know if Ralph knows me, but I know Ralph. They're my reps. And I've talked to Ruth over the phone. So I think we really need to consider this ordinance. I'm not against anybody's constitutional rights because I went to war to defend everybody's constitutional rights, not just a certain people or a certain group, but everybody's. But the whole thing is, Branson is a family-oriented town. It's a tourist destination for families. Families support Branson. Families pay the taxes that come here. Branson's only got a population of 10,000 people. And the revenue does not come in just from the people, from the population of Branson. It comes from the people that are coming here for their families. We do not need another Eureka Springs. You got drag queens walking the sidewalks trying to bring in people to their shows. Why? Because nobody's going to the shows. Tourism is down in Eureka Springs because of that. People don't go there anymore. Is that what you want for Branson?
It is not what I want. However, if it's protected by the Constitution,
No, it's
I'm gonna
not.
support it.
Don't tell me that Constitution crap. Don't give me
Okay.
that. Don't give me that. It is not protected.
It
And I'll
is,
propose right now or make a motion, and I expect Ruth and Ralph to back me up, put it to the vote of the citizens and let the citizens decide in a vote. Name me one court case, Mr. Mayor, to where a judge has overturned what the citizens have decided.
Excuse
Amen.
me, do I have to repeat that?
Not the citizens who
We're going to
voted
have a
something.
long, excuse me a minute. Rick, you need to address up here. Any comments from the audience, I will ask an officer to excuse you from the room. Thank you. Go ahead, Rick.
So let the citizens vote on this.
the guy sitting in the
We don't need
first
another Eureka
chair
Springs.
supports the
It's the
microphone
families that
is
come
one
in
of
and
our
support
one of
Branson.
the drag queens.
Any money that is generated from
Saw him earlier.
these drag queen shows are not going to be enough to support Branson. And you're going to drive the families away. Is that what you want? Is that what you want, Mr. Mayor, drive the families away?
No, sir.
Not at all, do you? But yet you have strip shows in your establishment. You got a dog in this fight, don't you?
No, I don't. But go ahead.
Yes, you do. Are you going to support the citizens or are you going to support strip shows? There's nothing socially redeeming about somebody gyrating their pelvis and shaking their butts. There's nothing there. So you need to put this to a vote of the citizens and let the citizens decide.
What they had to do with gambling,
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
and the citizens voted it
Madam
down.
Clerk?
Okay, I paused it for a second. That way, U-Haul says, why aren't you there?
It's 102 heat index outside, and I can watch it from here. I've said all I wanted to say about this subject. I was there the first night we had this conversation. I said what I needed to say. And then I went and said it directly to the drag queens. So, I got my piece in. I went and protested. So I did my part. Now I'm going to listen. This is where I'm supposed to be hearing the ending of this. What did the city come up with in this? Go ahead and turn it back on.
Okay, well, I was just going to say I agreed with both of the two guys that have talked so far.
I agree with them, but I also agree with the mayor. We have to stick to the Constitution.
Yeah, but if it's like sort of
Wait
like
to see what they did, and that's what these people are not. That's why he's saying people
All right.
need to wait till they hear the ordinance. Okay.
all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and press play again.
Okay. Take us back to live. 'Cause
Next
this-
speaker is Jeffrey Henry, 289 Notch Lane, speaking on drag show.
You're going to have a whole bunch of this. And they're all going to be the same.
Sorry, you left your hat up here.
Rick, is that your hat?
I wrote out this letter that I wanted to read today. I'm a very passionate person. First off, I want to thank the Alderman Committee for allowing me to speak tonight. I want to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Henry, and I have lived here in the Branson area all my life. I grew up in Spokane, graduated from school there. For those of you that are not aware, Spokane is just north of Branson. I was a volunteer with the Hollandville Fire and Rescue Department for 18 years as a lead first responder, and I'm currently a retired paramedic. I've seen many changes over the years throughout this area, working with the fire department and also in the ambulance for as long as I did. I've helped bring people in this world, and I've also been there holding patients' hands when they left this world, from infants to the elderly. I was raised by awesome parents, and I've spent many years around my grandparents too. Between them, they showed me what love is. My family was down-home country folks, and I grew up in Branson, or I grew up coming to Branson often as a kid, mostly coming to a few shows, especially the Bobolink Theater, which is now formerly the Clay Cooper Theater, because of the friends that performed in the show there, and also the Ball Number Show, because a few of the performers there I went to school with. I could go on about the history of many things about Branson. Branson, back in the 80s and 90s, you hardly ever seen any other ethnic group come visit Branson, mostly because of the treatment they got. The only few that did not get treated bad was the few Hispanic families that lived north of Branson and worked here. In fact, most of their family still works here. I remember when it was talked about that there should be a soul Motown show here, and then there was a lot of talk about that, saying that would never go over. Branson finally started growing and became a more accepting community over the last 20 years. As far as the drag shows, there has been drag shows in Branson for well over 20 years. Drag shows have been at the Paddle Wheel, Area 57, which is a sign, is the only thing that remains, Tsunamis, which is now known as Shoguns, St. City Sports Bar, Central Theater, and now Mr. Clinch's. I have friends that performed in drag here for over 20 years, and that is, and that was and is still a national name in the drag community. This ordinance that the city has about drag shows, in my personal opinion, from what I've read, is very vague. There's no difference in drag shows and the current Branson entertainers in Branson, guys dressing up portraying females, because they are putting on a costume and they are wearing either fake props and or makeup. In fact, how many of the performers in Branson shows now wear costumes and makeup? The largest religious show in Branson has male performers in costumes and wearing makeups, and nothing is said about that. The one thing I want to say is live in this area all my life, and knowing friends and family that have worked here in this area, and I see this on a daily basis. Branson used to be very loving and welcoming, and in some areas it still is, but also in some areas it is backsliding. I see more hatred now in this area. The meeting that you guys had a few weeks ago, the one lady that came up here and basically threatened Mr. Milton, the mayor, I witnessed firsthand hatred from that woman at an area business when she went off after African-American lady and her children. I had never experienced racism to that extent in this city until I seen that. And then that lady came in here that night and threw out vile
30 seconds.
hatred. And
A hatred
You
day,
know,
lady, that wasn't
that's
me.
what you guys want in the city. You know, this is not the Branson that I knew. This is not the Branson that I grew up in. Like I said, I've lived here all my life. I went to school with these entertainers in Branson. Drag show is the least of our problem. We've got much bigger issues to deal with here in Branson. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Bruce Peterson, 164 Preserve Drive, talking on drag shows.
Oh my God, what was that beeping? Oof.
His time was up.
I'm sorry, Hillary, what was the name?
Bruce
Oh, Bruce. I'm sorry.
Peterson.
Let's go, Bruce.
Hello. Hi. I'm the Reverend Bruce Peterson. I'm retired and Branson's my hometown. Notice my hand shaking. It's not because I'm nervous. It's because I have Parkinson's. Friends, we have many, many things that should offend our moral and Christian sensibilities. Here's just a brief listing. Branson has a high crime rate. We have an incredibly large homeless population. We have low-income families struggling to put food on the table who are dependent upon local food banks. We have senior citizens having to make the hard decisions between nutritious food and needed medication. We have the working poor, many of whom live in weekly and monthly motel room rentals. We do have some religious divisiveness, bigotry, self-righteousness, and judgment. We have racism. We have hostility and even hatred toward those who are different, with whom one disagrees, and with those who are deemed sinners. And what do we do with these problems? We sweep them under the rug, hoping our visitors won't see them. And yet these problems are the very things which should offend our moral and Christian susceptibilities. As a firm believer in Jesus, I firmly believe that as followers of Christ, these problems are what Jesus would have us prayerfully work to overcome. We have many serious problems in our community, many of which we hide in the name of image and profit. Compared to these serious problems, drag shows are a small problem. They don't threaten our way of life. It's time to get over discomfort about drag shows. They're adult performers entertaining consenting adults in an adult venue. Rather, we should, with God's help, seek solutions to the serious problems that plague our fair city. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Veronica Moore, 610 Stony Kirk, speaking on drag queens.
Yeah, I wish the camera would turn to show you, just show us how many people are there.
Yeah. Well, I disagreed with some of things that he said, but yeah. Exactly, U-Haul. Leave the kids out.
Wow, it's hard to say everything that's on my mind, but I think the divisiveness has occurred more recently than in the past. Yes, there's always been the adult entertainment section, not that I knew about when I was little and came to Branson, but it's become very divisive all over the country, probably all over the world in many areas. I think the real targets right now of the LGBT and the drag queen ideology that we are opposing today, it's a lot different. The targets have been increasingly manifested into Christian marriages and little children, mostly little children. I think we're here mostly to raise awareness of these issues and oppose any public policies and laws that support or promote the LGBT ideology. If you have an adult entertainment section that's been going on for a while and that's your law, that's one thing, but it's become more progressive and in the face. So that is one of the issues that I'm concerned mostly about. So we want to raise awareness of the issues and oppose public policies and laws that support or promote LGBTQ and ideology. And we want to work for positive laws that protect our children. I think that is the main issue. Particular malice is shown by this movement throughout our country when they push their agenda upon the public and the schools, the libraries, preying upon impressionable minds and hearts of little children. And what you really call them today, and I know this word, everybody's like, get rid of these words, but really today, they're groomers. They want children to explore the depth of depravity so young that they can consent to pedophiles. We're hearing about it all the time. It's in the schools, the sex ed, everything. That's what it's about. This is a Marxist agenda that's been going on and progressing for years, and it's becoming more and more in our face. They're literally doing the work for pedophiles by working hard to put this in the children's faces. I just can't believe that people are so comfortable with what they're doing. There is a law about inducing and enticing in children minors, and that's really what's becoming, and children are becoming even more confused. So for the sake of the little ones and future generations, I think Christians and moral people cannot stand by idly and allow your schools, your libraries, your hospitals and legislators and churches to be taken over by what is really a transgender craze that marches in the name of science, equality, inclusion, and compassion or charity. There are things over which fathers of families used to be willing to die, the life and innocence of their children numbered among them. If we do not oppose the movement now, sooner or later it will appear on every doorstep, whether we like it or not. And I just want to read Matthew 18:6. If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Matthew 7:13. The gate is wide and the way is easy, and that leads to destruction, and those who enter by it are many. For the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. So all of us need to look at our hearts and look at what's right and what's wrong, what's dark and what is light, because they're getting switched around a lot. I think all of us need to look at our families. The future of our children is everything. I'm a grandmother. I worry about my children. So all of you, look in your heart and look into your soul.
30 seconds.
Because that's what's important. What God's plan has for us to progress in his biblical worldview is what's most important for the advancement and future of our country and our children. God bless you all.
Thank you, Veronica. Madam Clerk.
Brian Pollock, 610 Stony Kirk, speaking on drag queen opposition.
What? I don't understand all that, U-Haul. I don't understand the question.
Thank you for having me. I think just in general, I know this is a very emotional issue, and sometimes I get emotional because it's important, and that's why you can't really separate sometimes your emotions and always be stoic about things. But, and I don't mean to offend people, generally speaking.
Why
I
ain't
don't.
I there?
But this is a serious issue, And again, I don't know about the history of all drag shows in the past that have supposedly existed. I don't know. I don't know how out front they were, but I know that the culture in our country all around has changed, not just here, but abroad as well. And basically, this change has come from an internal change of heart. And when it comes to things that are queer, things that are, it's not just different. Different is good, but this is to the point where there's something mental wrong. It's upside down. And we noticed a lot, things that are white or black and things that are up or down, everything has changed. And always, change is not always good. Change can be really bad. Progressive has the intonation that it's progressing for good. No, it can progress to the edge of a cliff, and sheep will just fall right off over it. And yes, the kids are that's the next generation, you know, our grandkids. All that stuff is very, very important, and we do need to protect them. You know, you might have heard the mantra of the LGBTQ plus all those silly letters trying to divide people, trying to separate and add this and add that new thing. I don't even know what the other letters even mean anymore. That's how stupid it is. But these crowds have been gathered together marching for this as if they don't have rights, as if they don't already have recognition. They've been recognized for a long time. And for the most part, people have tolerated it. But you can only tolerate wrong things for so long. And you got to speak up and you got to do something about it. And if we don't, might as well kiss your kids and your grandkids goodbye, because they need our kids. You know why they need them? Because they don't reproduce. Okay? It is a heterosexual relationship that is the only one that will work for reproduction. Queers don't reproduce. Okay? They have to adopt. And like they say in the mantra, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. That's their mantra. Coming for your kids, your grandkids. You better pay attention. Better wake up. And America is waking up. We've been asleep. We've not paid attention at all. And now we're starting to wake up to the stupid movements. And that's one of them, one of many. And they're constantly coming at us from all fronts. But we better wake up. And when they're coming for your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors, whatever, citizens of this town, it's important. And we should not let them get away with it. Okay, again, tolerance is not compassion. In fact, it's the opposite of compassion, because tolerating their mental state should have been the very thing that should have been addressed when they were younger. I don't care whatever their orientation they claim to have had. The natural law that God has is that very thing of a man and a woman. And if you exchange that, like the Bible talks about in Rome, like Romans, okay, Apostle Paul, you exchanged it. It was this law of diminishing returns that men will give up, start worshiping idols and things like that. And then finally it comes down to this thing where they start exchanging the natural function of the man for a woman, a man for a woman, for another man, and burning desires. And God gave them over to degrading passions. Again, because God looks at it not friendly. It's not good. So we need to be aware of it. And we need to know, we need to be aware, awake, and do something about it. And I pray to God that you guys will do the right thing. And you will stand up for good morality, because this is immoral.
And the 30-second buzzer going up. See?
Madam
Next speaker is Ivy Walker, 288 Mains Road, speaking on drag show.
They should at least turn the volume of that thing down. That's annoying.
Well, it's right by the speaker where she's at on the desk there where the camera is.
Yeah, take it and throw it through the wall.
Well, hopefully you don't get it. Hopefully you pay attention to the timer and you close it down before that buzzer.
Hi. My name is Ivy Walker. I am the daughter of two entertainers that have made their home and livelihoods in Branson for over 30 years. I was born in this town. I graduated from Branson High School, and up until this May, I was helping educate and care for this community's children while working at the Boys and Girls Club of the Ozarks. And I am a queer woman. In 2009 and 2010, my father, Blake Walker, was in the Branson Star Theater production of Breaking Up is Hard to Do. Some of you may remember this production. It was really special. Sorry, I'm nervous. It was really special because they had a producer and director flown out from New York, and this was one of the first in the area to feature an up-and-coming Branson star and member of the LGBT community, Jeremy Rabe. You may have heard of him. In this show, during the Calendar Girl number, my dad, who was at the time a straight man in his late 40s, wore a stunning red velvet Mrs. Claus dress, a wig and a bonnet, and was adorned with massive balloon breasts. I would say that this performance was exaggerating the characteristics of women while wearing an extravagant costume and subverting gender stereotypes. I was 9 years old, and that was my first experience with drag. And 2 years later, my school took me to see a woman in her 50s play on stage as a little boy. This, of course, was Kathy Rigby in Peter Pan. Her incredible performance in drag inspired me to join musical theater in junior and high school and take acting classes in college. Peter Pan and Breaking Up is Hard to Do, which both ran for over a year on the Strip, are not the only examples of drag that I have seen in my almost 2.5 decades of growing up here. Countless times I have seen men in dresses and bras come out on stage right here in Branson, in the entertainment district, in front of crowds of children like I was at the time. But that wasn't seen as dangerous or any kind of moral problem to anyone, because it was just a straight man playing up the feminine features for entertainment purposes. The only time that it starts to seen as sexual is when it involves queer people. Not only queer people like drag, not only queer people do drag. And I promise you that if you want to continue to have families visit this town like everybody's talking about, my age, my demographic, Generation Z, are the ones that are having kids right now. And my friends that are parents now would not take their kids somewhere like Branson, because they would not choose to bring their children somewhere that publicly opposes the LGBT community. Drag has been done innocently in this town for as long as I can remember. And the only reason that any of these conversations are happening now is because there's a moral panic being fed to people through their phones and TV screens. And we as a community cannot be on the side of division and hatred for all of Branson's queer and straight entertainers, who are the lifeblood of this community. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, I got a comment on this because she's advocating for them, okay, saying that her family wasn't queer and all that, right? But guess what?
She's queer.
She turned out queer. You are a queer lady. They groomed you. They turned you against God. They groomed you and made you be their advocate. Now, if they were proper people, they would have been like, wait a minute, hold up. I'm not bringing my kid to a drag show and turning them into a queer. You are a female. You are supposed to be with a male. And because they kept you around these, you are the perfect example of why it should not be allowed. You are the perfect example because they turned you away from having kids and having a husband and being a proper human. So, yeah, I just had to say that. I'm sorry. But, yeah, I would like to, just like, I wish I was there today. I would have, they would have had to have arrested me to get me out of there. I would have went off on her.
Okay, let's play it on.
Thank you, Ivy. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Jeremy Dean, 910 Market, speaking on drag show.
Sorry about that, Mona.
Good evening. My name is Jeremy Dean. I am an LGBTQIA+ advocate from the neighboring city of Springfield, Missouri. So I don't know any of you personally. I'm not going to hold any personal relationships against you to try and get you to vote a certain way or do a certain thing. I'm just here to speak to you as somebody who really doesn't have skin in the game to kind of give you an outside perspective. I stand before you today as a gay man, as well as somebody who played the crucial role in passing a resolution on June 5th of this year that embraces diversity and equity within Springfield. You may have seen that passed. Tonight, I'm here to express my support for the LGBTQIA+ community and my opposition to the proposed ban on drag shows. Let's be real. Drag shows are art, entertainment, and a celebration of individuality. Drag performers are professionals who tailor their shows to their audiences to ensure a safe and enjoyable time for all who wish to participate. They thrive in inclusive communities like Springfield, Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, and others all across the state and the United States, where they welcome everyone with open arms. Springfield, I can speak for, knows how to embrace diversity. We've seen it and its positive impacts that it has had on our city through increased tax income, increased job opportunities, and community development. We've gladly welcomed increases in tourism and their spending, which has bolstered our economy. So if Branson chooses to ban these and you want to turn away this business, I will tell you that us in Springfield will gladly take that tax dollars and that increased income that will be coming from you. So I would advise you to not close the doors that promote understanding and unity. Instead, I would recommend that you open channels of dialogue and celebrate what makes each of our communities unique. Together, we can build a Missouri that stands tall as a beacon of acceptance and progress. In conclusion, I urge you to vote against a ban on drag shows or anything that has to do with banning anybody's individuality or their First Amendment rights that are protected by the Constitution of the United States. Choose the path of inclusivity and let Branson join the ranks of cities that celebrate individuality, just like Springfield and many others like I named tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeremy. And just a quick comment.
So he
the
wants
ordinance
everybody's
tonight
money.
has nothing to do with.
Hey, I don't care. Let Springfield have that
from
kind of dirty
others
money.
also. So it's not a ban. There will
Hey,
be
police officer, arrest that guy. He's trying to steal
Madam Clerk.
Branson's money.
Our next speaker is Nate Horseman, 2550 State Highway 248, speaking on freedom, rights, liberty, and hypocrisy.
Air Thin wants to know if they can have their message put up on screen.
Sure.
Good evening.
Give us the message and Mona will put it up for you.
I told
know how to put up
myself
the
I would
message.
never come down here again.
Just click
But
on
after
it.
listening to the insanity of the past few board meetings, as well as the recent planning and zoning meeting regarding drag queen shows, I felt compelled to come back. First and foremost, let me remind this board that 6 of you on that dais ran and won on a platform of supporting and fighting for people's individual freedoms, rights, and liberties. Then you took an oath to protect them. Now certain members of this same board and a slew of the so-called good Christian people in the
No,
most
she wants to
patriotic
go-
city in America have fallen victim to the latest manufactured outrage and want to weaponize this board to their benefit and deny or restrict a group of fellow townspeople of their individual freedoms, rights, and liberties. Why? Because of something you clearly don't like, don't understand, and obviously know nothing about. Branson has far more important and pressing issues that we could be focusing our time on. Yet here we are, whining for 2 months about drag shows which have been held in Branson off and on for the 25 years that I've lived here. Why is it such a pressing issue now? Because certain individuals in our city government heard about an event they didn't like and got their supporters all riled up about it. You people probably wouldn't have even known about T. Roy and Kevin's events had they not been brought to your attention. Up until last month, the only drag show in Branson in the last 3 or 4 years was the one held on Larry Milton's dock. The 2 recent drag shows were held in a restaurant and bar off the beaten path, nowhere near the entertainment district or the downtown district, where this asinine ordinance is designed to limit them to. This business resides in an old half-empty outlet mall in the north side of town. Just like every other restaurant and bar in Branson, after 10 o'clock becomes a 21 and older establishment for adults only. The 2 nights they held drag shows, they covered all the windows. You couldn't see in. They had security at the door. There were no children allowed at either of these shows. I know all of this because I attended both of them. So unlike anyone else that has spoken out against them, I actually have firsthand knowledge. I've known Glenn for over a decade. He's a good dude, the epitome of the American dream. He worked his ass off and saved money and bought a food truck. And after his food truck became so successful, he and his business partner turned it into a brick and mortar restaurant and bar known as Mr. Glenn Show's, and they have made it equally as successful. Branson is all about supporting local businesses, right? Now, simply because he allowed a couple of all-inclusive events to be held at his place, he's become a victim of the same manufactured outrage. He's been harassed. Members of his family have been harassed. His business has been harassed. All for what? Because you people don't like something that other people do. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in this town that I don't like. I don't like the Christian camp over there across the lake that for years was responsible for actual sexual atrocities against children. And still to this day, they are using their money, power, and influence to keep those atrocities swept under the rug. And Branson just keeps looking the other way. I don't like that Branson has been hosting Reawaken America white nationalist rallies disguised as church events. I don't like the KKK-affiliated gift shop sitting on 76 as soon as you exit into town. I don't like the novelty store dedicated to a twice-impeached, sexual assaulting, election result denying, insurrection starting, multiple felony indicted narcissistic man baby sitting smack dab in the middle of town either. I also don't like having religion crammed down my throat while I'm trying to do my job. Are you a sinner? Do you need to be saved? Zealots that have the audacity to ask me if I need to be prayed for when all I want to know is what they want to drink and how they want their damn steak cooked. I don't like a lot of stuff around here, but you know what? When I don't like something, I don't go. If I don't like what a certain when I don't like something, I don't partake in it. If I don't like a certain event, I don't go. If I don't like what a certain business has to offer, I don't shop there. If I don't like what goes on behind a certain door in town, I don't walk through that door. Nobody is forcing any of you to go to a drag show and walk through that door. And unless you take your kids to a drag show, they aren't going. Drag queens aren't going to our schools, reading to our kids because they don't want to, and our schools don't allow them to. Anyway, that kind of stuff might happen in other places, but it ain't happening in Branson. Now to address the giant elephant in the room that nobody seems to want to talk about very much. December 19th, 2019, Larry Milton allowed Branson's most famous drag show to be held and filmed on his dock for the HBO show called We're Here. I have talked to people that helped organize it, performed in it, and many who attended it. I also watched the episode on HBO. I know what went on before, during, and after the drag show on your dock and how involved you, your wife, and your staff were in the whole process. You're a politician now, Larry, I get it. But that doesn't mean the truth isn't still the truth. You can gaslight it all you want, but I have the receipts. You leased your space and profited from the event, not just by leasing them the space, but by serving your beer and alcohol. Your staff worked the event, and you and your wife attended it with friends, and I was told you had a really good time. Almost done.
No, time's up. Sorry, Nate.
Wow. Like I'm speechless on this guy's views. Did he like skip morality or wow. Woof.
He told the truth about Larry. Remember, I'm the one that called Larry Milton out about it.
Yeah, I know you were. That's why I'm like stunned by what he's talking about. I'm like, blah. I was saying blah, blah, blah.
It's all in the wording. If they had advertised their show as an adult female impersonation show, it wouldn't have got this backlash. But instead, they advertised it as a drag queen show and come marching in with their fake boobs a-bobbing into the council meeting. All right?
So
all their makeup.
I've got a request from everybody in the chat. Can we please grift some money for this guy so he can get an education? Just saying. I mean, like, wow, that was, oof. Okay, let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Peel People said, or Peel People, People Peeler says I peel people. What? That's a bit odd.
That's a bit odd.
Are you like, yeah, I'm not even going to address that.
No, those are emojis. When they show up on StreamYard, they're just words like face purple crying, a purple face crying. The other one is an I peel people.
Yeah, they said they said the words I peel people. Their name is People Peeler 12.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a troll. Should we remove them, I think?
I'll let them be. Maybe
Okay.
they'll learn something.
Mona, the train is coming. Same person.
Amen.
I think yeah. Okay.
Amen. The train is coming.
And it's going to dump all of its chemicals all over the world.
No, he's talking about the Trump train.
Yeah, I know.
The Trump train's coming. Oh, yeah, amen.
I'm just joking about, how they're trying to poison our water system and stuff with the trains that are derailing all over the world.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Real hard.
Okay, back to it.
Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Our next speaker is Vanessa H. from Blue Eye, speaking on drag queen issue.
Okay. It's live. I can't fast forward it past all this.
Respected Mayor, Aldermen, and city officials, thank you for your time and the
you want me to-
opportunity to look at the eternal impact of the decisions that you make as guardians of the city. The proposed location for a drag queen venue is downtown, which is the heart of the city. Branson itself is the heart of the country. So let's get to the heart of the matter. Drag queen shows are not adult entertainment light. They are sexually explicit in song, apparel, and gestures. They are endangering our children. An online search of drag queens and kids will clarify any doubt. As drag queens like to read books to kids, not to elders at an assisted living, here is a story to sum up the situation at hand. Could I please give you a picture for you to look at while I read the story?
Yep. Give to our clerk will handle that.
Imagine the little girl in this picture is one of the precious little ones in your family. I come from India, and we read stories to our kids to teach them morals and pass down history. So today I'm going to read you the story called Trust Me. An old crocodile was laying on the bank of the river, flopping around and trying desperately to get a bone he had lodged between his teeth to come loose. Short arms defied the croc, and thrashing his giant head just lodged the bone deeper. On the same bank, a little monkey watched from the safety of the trees. He too had an issue. He needed to get across the river to his family, but he knew if he swam alone, he'd be eaten alive. He called down to the croc, "Mr. Crocodile, I can help you, but you have to promise not to eat me. My hands are small and my fingers are long. I can get the bone out of your teeth, but I need safe passage across the river." The crocodile was in agony from the bone, so he agreed immediately to the terms the monkey set forth. Innocently, the monkey climbed down from the trees. He carefully extracted the bone, and the grateful crocodile prepared to take the monkey across the river. "Get through my mouth, monkey. If you ride on my back, you won't be safe. I will take you across in my mouth, where you will be safe from the other crocodiles for sure." The trusting monkey did as the croc said, and he crawled into his gaping mouth. He realized his mistake immediately, but it was too late. As the croc began to apply killing pressure with his formidable jaws, the monkey cried, "But Mr. Crocodile, we had an agreement. I helped you, and you were supposed to keep me safe." The enormous croc finished the monkey in one bite and chuckled to himself. "Silly monkey, I am a crocodile. I eat monkeys. It's what I do. It was a monkey bone you pulled from my teeth so that I could eat you easily and without pain. You are safe, monkey. You're safe in my belly. Now you will ride across the river with me, where your family will soon join you in my belly." This is definitely not a Disney story. It's an old proverbial story with a moral. These stories were told because the elders wanted the young ones to know that a crocodile is a crocodile, regardless of what it calls itself, and it will eat you whole if you let it. So, can you please make sure that there is a protective clause in place to ensure that drag queens do not venture out into libraries, schools, public places, and private businesses and homes? The first indiscretion leading to a heavy fine for both drag queen and the business or source of the invitation. Second indiscretion, shut down the drag queen show venue. Secondly, over-the-top eyeshadow and fake breasts do not make nor represent women. It is demeaning to us as natural-born women. In a nutshell, we are endowed with God-given gifts that make us helpmates to our husbands, chef, nurse, janitor, counselor, caregiver, business owner, business partner, and most importantly, a prayer shield for our family, friends, neighborhood, and country. My friend Renee is a prime example of womanhood. Renee helps her husband with his business. She also takes care of her 56-year-old baby brother, who is wheelchair-bound and cannot communicate. She feeds him, bathes him, and keeps him clean and healthy, carefully seats him in her car, and drives him around to entertain him. She also takes her older sister for chemotherapy in Springfield. She keeps track of her 9 kids and 22 grandkids, visiting and celebrating milestones in their lives. She does it all with a sweet smile. Never a complaint whenever we meet for a meal or coffee in Branson. Renee is a Christ-filled, God-honoring, real woman and a cherished friend to me.
I'm sorry, Vanessa. I'm sorry, Tom.
Is that it? Okay.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Rob Tiora, PO Box 826 Hollister, speaking
We'll
on
never
zoning
get-
change, adult entertainment.
We'll never get through this. Keep going, keep going. We'll never get through this. There's going to be there's 5 minutes for each person in the audience. Makes you wonder how many's there.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I appreciate it. I'm here to speak on adult entertainment. When I spoke here at the first meeting in May,
Make sure we're watching it live
on
so
this
we're skipping
topic,
some of this maybe.
I said that the principalities of darkness are on our door.
And if we teach this as being normal or okay, or we allow it to go on, it's not healthy. You know, I thought Branson was all about family friendly, not adult entertainment. I don't even know why we even have adult entertainment here. It's not what we're about. I mean, all you have to do is look at the sales at Disney. You know, this 4th of July weekend, yeah. And I'm not saying that anybody's pushing agenda, but if we have this kind of stuff going on, it's definitely going to get out there. I didn't even know about any drag shows. I never even heard of any drag shows here. I probably wouldn't have moved here had I known that, because I'm trying to protect my daughter from what's going on in this world right now. You know, and I love this city. I love this, that it's all about God. How are we honoring God if we allow this into our city? You know, any adult entertainment, any at all, you know, Chippendales, whatever the case may be. This place, people come here. This is like an escape zone from their craziness, Illinois and all these other states that people come from. You know, they're seeing what's happening in their schools, and it's not a healthy thing at all. So, I mean, I just think that maybe we should put it to a vote to the citizens. Adult entertainment, you know, stop it. It doesn't need to be here. This is a place that's people come to because of what it has, the values it has. It's God's love here. I mean, you know, people come here because they love God. I know of tons of people that have relocated here just because they sensed the presence of God in a mighty way at this place. That's not God honoring. If we allow this as you know, citizens, how can that be good? You know, we don't hate anybody, but we don't want adult entertainment in our city that's family friendly. It's not healthy for the city. It's going to get out there. You know, these shows have been kind of hidden. Why do you think they've been hidden? Because they're not good for this city. And if this stuff was to start coming out, you know, I've spoken with many people. Oh, there's drag shows here. Oh, you know, their whole attitude changes. And I can tell you, people's attitudes will change. They will. And I just don't want to see the city get destroyed. And I don't want to, I have to answer to him one day. We all do. So let's do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Trish Isley, Branson, speaking on adult entertainment.
Hey there. So first of all, let me say that I love everybody. God loves everybody. So there's no judgment from my heart. We all are sinners. We all can be saved. There's evil happening in the world, and it's a shame, but God can help us walk the straight path. There's hurts that cause us to go off course, and Jesus gives such a peace and joy when you're walking with him. And that's what I want for everybody. So adult entertainment does not fit in Branson. So that is what I believe all Christians here in this room are asking for, is not to allow it in Branson. Right now, there is an ordinance that was written. I read the ordinance. All it's doing is saying it's not okay here, but it's okay here. Well, we don't want it okay here because Branson is God, family, country. We want to keep Branson that way. So that's what I'm asking you all, to not sweep this under the carpet and just take the easy road. Let's take the hard road. You know, being a Christian sometimes is taking the hard road. You know, it's easy to sit along and join everybody in the laughter of sin, but that's not someone who loves God with all their hearts. You know, we have to take the hard road. So I ask you, please put this to a vote, all adult entertainment. We don't want hunk shows. We don't want, have you seen the pictures of what's happening here in Branson with the scantily half naked bodies, bathing suits, everything else? It's disgusting. You know, it's not appropriate. So I'm asking to please put it for a vote. Don't allow it in Branson. Let the people's voice be heard, and let's not sweep it under the carpet, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. For our next speaker, I just want to clarify, and I believe Rob touched on this also. For clarity, there are some people that think that what we're discussing tonight is opening it up an opportunity. Reality is, today, drag shows are allowed anywhere in the city limits of Branson. Highway 76. I mean, drag shows can go anywhere. Some think that we're discussing this to allow drag shows, and why would we allow that in our community? So truth is, it's already allowed citywide, right? Madam Clerk.
Our next speaker is Denise Tiora, Hollister, speaking on adult entertainment.
Mayor, Alderman, thank you for letting us speak. I know it's redundant sometimes with everybody saying the same thing, but I'm saying the same thing. I don't want this in my town. I'm not talking specifically about drag shows. I'm talking about adult entertainment across the board. It doesn't belong here. And it's my understanding that part of the ordinance that's being proposed is to move the adult entertainment to Branson Landing.
That is not a true statement.
That is not a true statement. Okay, so
after we have the ordinance read and we discuss it, then all the facts will come out.
Okay.
I've heard similar comments.
Okay. So part of the concerns would be that wherever the zoning is allowing this to occur, to make sure that there is sufficient time for the business owners that are in close proximity to wherever it's going to be allowed for them to have a say in how it affects their business. Just for the sake of conversation, let's say it is at Branson Landing. All of the businesses that are located at Branson Landing, do they have a say in whether or not the zoning is allowed in their vicinity? How will it affect the businesses? How will it affect what they stand for, if they are for it or against it? So my concern is for the people that are affected by this and don't have a say. I agree with some of the other people that have said, let them vote on it. Let the people decide whether or not they want it in close proximity to their business. The other thing that was also brought to my attention, and again, I don't know if it's true or not, I'm asking, is the attorney that was writing the ordinance, whether or not there was a conflict of interest because they also represent some of the businesses that are allowing the adult entertainment. So I thought maybe that's a conflict of interest if they're also part of the team that represents that business, say Saint City.
Denise, I'm not sure where you're getting your information, but again, that's not accurate.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
was concerned about, there being a conflict of interest.
I know there's a lot of rumors out there.
Okay. So anyway, just as a citizen of this community, I'm not happy about what's going on in the town. And the person that had mentioned before about the homelessness, the people that are having difficulty, I agree with that as well. You know, there's a lot that needs to be addressed. This isn't the only issue, but this is the primary issue right now. So thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Damian Sam Elselmo Porfirio, speaking on new ordinance.
We can just call you Damien, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, you guys know by now, I mean, I'm a constitutionalist. I really did appreciate what you said about, upholding that. A lot of people are kind of bringing religion into this, and that's fine. I'm not saying my religion, I'm not against any religions, whatever, but, from a constitutional standpoint, we just have to live and let live on this, I understand a lot of the people's concerns, but maybe taking it to a vote isn't that bad. I think they'd be pretty disappointed, to be honest with you, because most of the people that are going against this, they don't support any of these businesses anyway, So I kind of find that ridiculous that these are the only people speaking out against it. I've read the ordinance, and I don't think anyone speaking against it or for it or whatever, I don't think they understand what they're reading. I don't know. I just hope you guys uphold the Constitution and don't go on the religious side of things, because that's not what the country was built upon.
Excuse me, who wants to leave?
Well, it's not. You can find that very clearly. Most of the people that wrote the Constitution, they were deists. They were opposed to organized religions. I'm not saying what I am. It doesn't matter what I am. This is, about the Constitution, about our rights as citizens. And, I had something prepared to speak, just hearing everybody with what they have to say. And, I want to respect some people's beliefs, of course, but, they have to respect other people's as well. And don't support the business. It's that simple, If they don't like what any of you guys do or what they don't do, don't go, Kind of one person that spoke up here, we are politically polar opposites. And he knows who I'm talking about. But I fully agree with a lot of the stuff that Mr. Horstman said. I'm a conservative, definitely. But a lot of what he said, I was like, I'll have to agree with him on that. Don't support. If you don't like it, don't go. Now, I personally love the Trump store, but if you don't like it, he doesn't go. You know, if you don't like the drag show, don't go. I went to all three of them. You know, I'm a cinematographer. I filmed there, and I mean, there was really God's honest truth. There was no supreme sexuality. It was open with singing. There was some dancing. Some people came out, did their performance. There was no, you know, I wouldn't let my kids go. It's a bar. You know, they're not going to my kids' school. They're not trying to take over the community. This has been going on for a long time. It's just they started to promote it, and then people are like, "Oh, not in my town," you know. And I mean, that's where we are right now, and it's unfortunate. I know everyone wants to say, you know, we have to go by the Bible. We have to Bible this, Bible that. But look, I mean, we can't do that. And as much as they want to get angry at me, not even knowing my beliefs, saying, "Oh, this America was built on Christianity." No, there was men that had that belief, but go check your facts. It was not built on any sort of religion. So I just really hope you guys don't go by religion. You go truly by the Constitution. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Damian.
I bet you he was happy when they allowed weed. He's going to be really happy, won't he? I feel like he was needing a joint halfway through what he said. I'm sorry, I had to say it, Mona. We need some laughs in here right now because this guy just like totally pooped on my parade.
Well, but the point is that
he's got some good points.
He's right. This is a city council, and they are sworn to uphold the Constitution.
Yeah, I know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he looks like he needs a joint.
And that's why I'm not there. Is because I like the way they wrote the ordinance. Okay, it puts massive limitations without infringing on someone's constitutional rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, so
yeah,
I'm waiting to hear what the reading of the ordinance in its final stage.
All right, I'm going to start it again.
When we do address this issue on the agenda, we will ask our city attorney. But I've heard a couple people now mention put this to the vote of the people. We'll specifically ask our attorney the question. I don't believe we can put something to the vote of the people and ask the people, do you choose to violate the Constitution? I think it's that simple.
There's an open seat for you, Mona. You should be there sitting in it next to him.
No, that's Clay Cooper's. He had a show tonight.
Our next speaker is Kevin Vaughn, Independence Branson, speaking on the new ordinance.
Yeah, but you would look better there.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin.
No.
Did I say thank you, Kevin?
Things would actually get done.
Who's next, Madam Clerk?
T. Roy Shirley, Independence Branson, speaking on the new ordinance.
Hello, you know who I am. You probably know more than my husband knows about me. So one day you're going to have to take me out for dinner or something. So anyways, there is like a lot of child things that are being brought up. And we're not the ones that's doing it. Everybody is doing that to their children. It's not just one child. But if that child belongs to somebody, that child is being done like that. Okay. Not that everybody in here is doing it, or everybody in the world is doing it. But there are that pathetic, inconsiderate, shitty ass people that deserve to be punished. Absolutely. Absolutely. But we're not it. Okay, we have nieces and we have nephews, we have kids, we are families that come to Branson and want to be welcomed here and accepted, and we have that right because we also fought for this world to be free, and I am free, but I want to be freer. I want my people to come here and be welcomed and say, hey, I'm taking my kids, Branson, Missouri, Silver City. You want adult shows? Have you been to the theaters? Because some of the theaters are putting on some adult shows that children are going to. Nobody's saying anything because that's Branson. If it wasn't here, Branson would not be here. Silver City, if it wasn't here, Branson would not be here. So choose your facts wisely whenever it's on something like this, because y'all are speaking on something totally different than what you should be speaking on. Okay, that should be towards the people that deserve to be spoken, like you are being we are being spoke to. We are not speaking to anybody in here on hate. We are simply standing up for ourselves because you are hate. And who in here thinks that hate is a positive and a God-given or Jesus Christ-given thing? I'm sorry, but that is evil. That doesn't come from Jesus, and that does not come from God. I have been going to church all my life. I have my beliefs, and I have my religions. So choose that wisely as well. If you don't want to be looked upon as pathetic, judgment, inconsiderate, low, or anything of that sort, because your religion shouldn't be like that. Okay? Your religion is happy, love, peace, joy, equality. Welcome to everybody. Okay?
You know,
So
the devil has sweet
I
words.
could very
too.
easly say, y'all are like hurting kids, but I'm not like that. I don't know who is. Maybe some of you that's already spoke. Maybe not. I don't know. But, I would choose that wisely too, because we're not taking your blame, and we're not taking your evil, and we're not taking your hatred, and we're not taking your judgment. You can keep that to yourselves, because we are used to this all of our lives, and we can shut that off, and you can fill that in, because that's the way it is in this world, and that's the way it should be in Branson, Missouri. Everybody has families. Everybody comes here. Everybody is welcome to an extent in the profession of theaters in Branson. We don't know who's gay, straight, bisexual. That doesn't even belong, okay? Because nobody even looks at it. They're going to see a show. Simply going to see a show. If they don't want to see that show, they're not going to go and watch that show. No difference than a drag show. It is at 10 o'clock at night. We do not want children involved in that, because it is an adult show. If that was not here in adult shows, period, Branson would not be here.
30 seconds.
Because that's what helps us build. We just want to help Branson build. We want to see Branson thriving like it was 40 years ago. Because it's not thriving that much now. Maybe it's the hate, maybe it's the judgment, and maybe it's the individuals in this town that they're feeling that energy whenever they come here. Maybe that's keeping them away. Think about it really, really hard, because we are all equal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Michael Phillips, 3221 Shepherd,
Wendy.
speaking on drag shows.
Thank you, Michael.
I'm not even going to comment on that guy
Is
because
Mary Ellen Sigler.
I'd have to put myself in timeout for the next hour.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, how many more speakers do we have?
9.
Thank you. How many do we have total?
27.
27 times 5.
Well, Mary Ellen.
It's how many minutes?
If she starts saying the same stuff, I'm going to skip.
Well, my name
forward.
is Mary Ellen, and I'm here from the future to tell you why we need this proposed ordinance in Branson. My family and I moved here from the East Coast in 2021, where adult sexual performers dressed as drag queens have few time, place, and manner restrictions on where and when they perform and for whom. As a result, they are allowed to host drag queen story hours for children, host makeup sessions for teens at local libraries to introduce them to the world of drag, perform drag shows for public school students, and more. Having no restrictions placed on them empowered them to expand their reach and influence.
Go ahead. It's all that.
The First Amendment
I want to
to
hear
the
the
U.S.
ordinance in its
Constitution
final
guarantees freedom of
I get
speech.
past all this.
Well, yeah, I'll skip all the way to the live, but,
Go to
Health
live.
and safety.
but she's still talking on live. I want to pause it for a second. Can you put up what Wendy B of AZ just said? Put that up on screen and leave it on there. That's what, yeah, there we go. We need that up there. All right, I'll start it back.
Mention that. Visitors come here for family-friendly entertainment. If sexual performers are not restricted, it will change the character of our community and most certainly have negative economic consequences. At a previous city council meeting, and here again tonight, those in favor of drag shows in Branson argue that they only want a space to express themselves and that they have no interest in performing for children. But headlines across the nation tell a much different story. If drag queen performances are permitted with no restrictions, a campaign to provide drag queen events for children will inevitably follow. It will happen. That's why we must also vote no to making our private library public. It will open the door to drag queen events for children. Coming from a state where adult sexual performers dressed in drag are barely restricted, I can tell you firsthand their reach and influence into the community eventually put them in a position to being role models for children. Branson does not want to invite a future. I urge the City Council to adopt an ordinance that safeguards our economy, our community, and our children. Thank you all for your excellent service, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to address you.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Madam Clerk?
Our next speaker is Karen Schooler, 265 Deer Run, speaking on fight against the drag queen in our town.
How long are these meetings usually, Mona?
It all depends on if there's 50 people speaking for 5 minutes, they can go on a long
Is
time.
Karen in the room?
Oh, God. Don't
We
tell
got,
me
9,
that.
we got 8 more to go through.
Our next speaker is Marvin Schooler, 265
And they are
Deer Run,
limited to
speaking on
5
fight
minutes.
against drag queen. Yeah, that makes sense.
He left with Karen.
Okay, so Steve Shearer, 224 Norwood, Branson, speaking on drag queen shows.
I will catch up back on it here in a second and hit live. Tonight is Fibbage night over at Wendy's. So just so you know, I think it's like in what, 2 hours you go live, Wendy? All right, I'll put this back on.
I'm not from California. We moved down here from St. Charles, Missouri, and I love it here. And one of the things that attracted us here was the family-friendly atmosphere. I actually bragged a lot of my friends back in St. Louis area what it's like to live in Branson. I'm opposed to any form of adult entertainment in this town. I think this town has unique community flavor that would be injured by that. And it's not just drag shows. It could be a topless bar. It could be a casino. It could be any number of things that I think really don't have a place in our community. I think we have standards here that we need to maintain, and we entertain stuff like this at our peril. I kind of take a long-term view at this. It's, maybe a drag show is a harmless thing, okay, initially, but what's next? What happens next year, the year after? Because there will be an after, trust me. A lot of people have previously pointed out that there's a lot of things happening across the United States, and I would tell you that there's an agenda here, and they'd love for it to happen here. they'd like to drive a stake through the heart of this community. And I think we need to be extremely careful when we entertain this. And when you, ladies and gentlemen, draft this ordinance, you need to put some teeth in it. I have to say, I find it interesting that I keep hearing we can't the Constitution. Well, I've lived in the St. Louis area most of my life, and I don't believe I could be wrong, but I don't recall any adult entertainment in the city of St. Louis or in the city or county of St. Charles. But I can take you across the river to Washington Park, Illinois, and I can show you what adult entertainment is done there, and it's not good. But it's not in St. Louis, so I don't buy the we can't thing. I think we can if we have the moral courage to do it. I urge you to reconsider this. And at a minimum, for God's sake, put some teeth in this ordinance and keep this thing limited. We've got to keep the nose of the camel from getting under the tent, or we're going to have problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Madam Clerk.
Our next speaker is Brent Sager, 114 Coo Creek, speaking on proposed drag ban.
Hello, everybody. I appreciate what you said earlier about standing up for the Constitution, and I hope you all don't feel like any of my remarks are directed towards you specifically. God bless you all for listening to us. I'm not here tonight to talk about morality. I'm here to talk about legality and common sense and the responsibility of you all as our elected officials to do what you said you would do. As we all know, you're not here to push your personal ideals and beliefs. You are here to be stewards of our citizens and to be a fiduciary of our tax dollars and to keep us legal. That is your responsibility. Most of the administration here ran on the platform that the government cannot tell you what to do. If we vote yes on this proposed resolution, you will be showing that you do not stand by that completely, and that we are not the first community to consider something of this nature. Many towns and states have unsuccessfully tried to ban drag shows. One example was last month. U.S. District Court Judge Thomas L. Parker struck down a statewide ban on drag shows, stating several reasons for doing so, one of which was that this was content and viewpoint-based restriction of speech, otherwise known as the First Amendment.
Amen, Wendy. Amen. That's like, I'm going to read off her comment because I can't put it up on screen. And
Which one?
Oh, the big one, the second one, right? The one
Got
right
it.
there, that one right there, and then the next one too. I'm going to start it again.
This was not a judge or a court out of a liberal area. This is a Republican district court judge from Tennessee who was appointed by President Donald Trump. They don't get much more conservative than that. And even he recognized that this type of legislation was unconstitutional. Please do not waste the taxpayers' money, your time, or any more of ours on projects like this that are sure to be extremely costly to our city and will be overturned regardless. Everyone is looking for a reason to sue someone with deep pockets, and many groups will perceive the city of Branson to be just that. Let's not give them a valid reason to potentially bankrupt our city. I have an attorney friend out of Kansas City that told me that his firm is waiting for this to pass so they can file suit. And they know that they will be immediately followed by the National and Missouri ACLU, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the Human Rights Campaign, GLAAD, and many other groups that will be bringing suit against the city. When you get sued, when the city gets sued, you'll be forced to go on record stating that you do believe the government should be able to tell private businesses what they can and can't do, and that you do believe that the government should be able to regulate the First Amendment if you vote for this. And don't forget, if you're planning on running for any other office, be it state rep, Senate, again, your political opponents will surely use that against you. Drag shows have been happening in this town for over 40 years, and there's never been an issue. I suppose some people in the town may have just found out about this and are now afraid for some reason, but it doesn't change the fact that there's nothing to be afraid of. The reason most of them didn't know this was already happening is because it didn't bring any of the issues they're afraid of it bringing. Everybody, well, most people in here claim to be Republicans and capitalists. Are you? If so, let capitalism work. Let it work. If you don't like it, that's fine. Protest it. Don't go. Tell everybody you know not to go there. But if there's a market for it, let it be. Venues will not allow these shows if people don't want to attend. Let capitalism work. The market will respond. It will either bring people here who will spend their money and enjoy our town, or it will fizzle out and go away. Businesses will not continue doing something if it doesn't bring people into their establishment. Some people say this is to protect the children. Statistically speaking, the most likely place for a child to be molested is in the home. The second
or child rings, like the pedophile rings that are going down. Well, one of them that went down, that was billionaires running it. Do we need to mention that to you, sir? Because you seem to not understand what's going on in this country.
The point is what he's making is a legal one. And he's right.
Well, if you read what Wendy just said, that's, yeah, I agree totally with what Wendy's saying. And it's just like, no. I'm going to put it back on, or I'm just going to go off. So I need to shut up.
Wait till you hear the ordinance, okay?
Yeah, but since it's so long away from the ordinance being read, that's why I'm pausing and talking and stuff. We can always, jump to the live so we can get back to where we were. Yeah. But yeah, this is just whoo-wee, buddy. If anybody wants to watch this whole show, like, it'll be on the YouTube link, and here I'll copy that and I'll put that in the chat, just because if you want to watch the whole thing without it being paused and us talking, we have to give them the credit because it is their live stream. So
or if you didn't catch it live, you have the opportunity to jump ahead too if you want to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, back to live. I've got to get to the ordinance.
Well, me starting it isn't going to change it, getting it there faster.
Yeah, right now you can go fast forward about.
Yeah, I can fast forward back in. I just thought it was a good time that we could pause and take in some comments and stuff like that, because we got Wendy in the chat talking. Protesting won't change it if they pass it. That's true. What protest has ever done anything except for ones that were done, almost 100 years ago?
And right now you have no idea what it is they're proposing to pass.
Yeah, and that's why
innuendos and falsehoods and things like that. I read I was there when the ordinance was presented last time by the city attorney. So I know what hoops they got to jump over. So that's kind of a big deal. Kind of like having a convoy in Branson, when you got to have all that insurance and you got to get them permits and stuff. It kind of deters people from having a convoy. Instead, they go have a stroll. So they'll stop having drag queen shows and start having female impersonation shows. They'll just change the word.
I agree. And here, I'm going to give Wendy the link to come in here if she wants.
Yes.
So here's your StreamYard link. If you wish to come in, Wendy. I totally didn't even think of that. Oh my God, I'm like the bad
moderator.
Well, right now I'm the co-streamer, host thing, whatever you call it, and I'm failing. I'm like really failing. You're gonna have to put me into the timeout box or something.
Okay, let's go back to live.
All right.
Most likely place is in a church. Drag shows.
And in history known as Little Hands of Stone. And during a rematch in 1980 with Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberta walked away saying no mas in the 8th round and just left the fight. And no matter what he did before that, no matter how many things and titles and bouts he won after that, his legacy became no mas. That was it. He will never live that down. Your wall of honor will never take away this ordinance. It will be tied to your names. It will be tied to your businesses. It will be tied to your families. What you do on this ordinance to create an ordinance for sexual activity where children are allowed, that will be your legacy. You'll not get away from that. If you've read the ordinance, the fact that the authors of this ordinance admit their ignorance of the law is evident in the last page on section 5. It says, if any sentence or clause be invalid or unconstitutional, the rest of it still applies. If they were confident that everything in this ordinance was lawful, they wouldn't have to throw that in. You really need to consider what you do when you create an ordinance to allow children into a sexual activity venue. Thank you.
Wow, she's right. She is. Yeah, that I agree with
Next
her
speaker
on
is
that.
Josiah Butterbaugh, 132 Foley, speaking on drag shows.
Oh boy.
One of our drag queens.
Hello, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. I want to start this out by saying my name is Josiah Butterbaugh, and I am a gay Christian.
And those two
The first
things
thing
don't
that
go
I would like to address is when
No such thing as a gay Christian. Just saying. If you read your Bible, bro, you would
Just
know.
like there's no such thing as an Al-Anon.
Yeah. Oof.
I mean, a QAnon, okay?
Look and see if Wendy's down there in the bottom. She might be waiting down there to be added.
I don't see anybody. Nobody popped up yet. I was watching for that.
Yeah, Wendy, did you get the link? I don't know if it posted or not. I tried to post it a couple times because it said this comment failed to post. I'm hoping that you got the StreamYard link. Let me try to send it in YouTube itself. Oh, she can't go on right now. Never mind. Yeah, it's posted. I seen it. All right, I'm going to start it again. Unless you have something else to say, Mona.
No, go on.
All right.
HBO were, and I don't know about you, but after saying that wasn't us, I wouldn't want to look like a fool. Also, I've been to several drag shows in this town since I was 18 years old. Last Friday night, I went to the drag show, and one of the things that keeps coming up is that this is adult entertainment. I believe that adult entertainment refers to the taking off of clothes. Technically, they're not taking off clothes because if you've ever seen a drag queen, they have at least 6 to 7 layers of clothes on, so there's no nudity shown. And most of the people in this town would know that if they had ever attended a drag show. So again, I tell you that this uproar against drag shows is pure hate, and it has nothing to do with their rights or the Constitution. Because everyone wants to talk about the Constitution. Everybody on this board took an oath with the Constitution to stand for the Constitution, and to pass an ordinance that puts us in a box is against our Constitution. Also, if the kids were being affected by this and that was the main issue, then you wouldn't put it in a district that is in the old downtown area where there's literally no establishment on the inside that would allow this to happen.
Yes, Wendy.
Also,
yep.
Why would you put it in the heart of Branson, Missouri if you were trying to protect children? And again, like last time, I just want to end this with hope will never be silent. If you pass this ordinance, we're not going to be silent. We're here, we've been here, and we're not going anywhere.
Thank you, JoJo.
Get away from me, dude.
Madam Clerk.
You're scaring me.
Next speaker is Steve Hartley.
You almost stepped on
7825
me.
Cozy Cove, speaking on drag queen ordinance.
Ow, he stepped on my foot. Stupid
Our final
person.
speaker is Linda Wolf, Hollister, Missouri, speaking on drag queen adult entertainment.
Woohoo! Another person. Oh boy. How fun.
Much of what I was going to say has been said, but I do want to address the fact that in the amendment to our Constitution, number 1, it says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, etc. It is very widely stated, and we do know that as far as freedom of speech goes, there are absolutely necessary restrictions. You can't shout fire in a crowded building, correct?
Yep.
So is that free speech? If we have movies that have ratings, we have G, we have PG, we have R, we can't show an X or an XX or however many X's in the local movie theater. Is that
Amen.
restriction of free speech? Are we going to have to start putting the triple X movies in the local movie house in order to support free speech? If we, as people have said, don't have the reading hours in our libraries to the children, is that prohibiting free speech? Are we going to have to, because we start having people in local shows, does that mean because of free speech, does that mean we're going to have to start letting them read in our libraries or do parades on the street where the men ride naked on bicycles? And yes, I have seen that happening. I've seen the clip personally. I've seen the clip personally where the people were marching and saying, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. And I know the people who have been here have always said, we don't want your kids, we don't want your kids. And that's great. And I don't hate anyone. I believe we need to love everyone, but that doesn't mean we need to embrace their opinions or thoughts or ideals either. When we say we have to give them freedom of speech, does that mean every city and every state of every town of these United States has to permit adult entertainment? Because these drag shows, you can say technically aren't stripping or whatever, but yes, they take off clothes. And yes, I have seen clips with things buzzed out where they did actually show parts of their bodies with kids present. That's why I saw them, because I was watching what was going on with the kids, where parts of their bodies were showing. There have been those. And if we start this at this place in this position because of free speech that for some reason can't be even restricted in any way, do we have to let them start doing that? Do we have to let them parade naked in our streets? Is that all free speech? I think in constitutional language that we need to be careful. We get these code words, and like I've been hearing people lately in other places say things like, we've consulted with our lawyers and we'll get sued, and that's not a good use of our city money or our county money or our state money. And I understand that, but it's become a code word, so it makes you start wondering, are we just using another excuse because we've really already told people this might happen or that might happen? It's questionable, especially when there's questionable investments in some of the things that are going on. And we do have to recognize that although we cannot make a law because of the Bible, you have a constituency that has supported you, that has voted for you, that if we have a city that doesn't desire to have a certain thing, then certainly that's possible somewhere under the Constitution and under those legal restrictions that are things like telling people in a movie house that they can't yell fire.
30 seconds.
So in this city, if we don't want to have adult entertainment in this city, then that's not restricting their free speech. They can just go to up to Springfield and say what they want to say there. But in this city, we want to have freedom from adult entertainment, and that includes drag shows. Not because we hate them, but because we don't want that in our city, because it does affect the spirituality and the spiritual atmosphere of this city.
Thank you, Linda.
I liked her. Yep. She's absolutely right. And it's like there are words that you are not allowed to say, even though, we're supposed to have this free speech system. There are words that will land you in prison. The Constitution doesn't protect those words. Like if you go up to a police officer and you get up in his face and you say, I'm going to kill you, he's allowed to throw you on the ground, put you in handcuffs and arrest you.
Yes.
There are other words. Like if you walk up to a black man and you say racist slurs to that black man, that is not protected speech. But they're wanting, these people getting nude in front of children to be free speech. Like, how is that protected? That makes no sense to me at all.
Gotta mute my mic.
Yep. All right, I'm going to put this back on.
Madam Clerk?
Brief recess because they're calling Mona and yelling about me being on here. I'm kidding. We're just in a brief recess right now. We'll be it'll be going back into it here in a moment. Right now, Mona is on the phone, and we will get back to it. It is still live, but they have went into a brief recess, and then they'll be coming back here soon. Welcome back, Mona.
Yes, I'm back. I'm back. Well, I'll be doggone. That was a nice call. Daryl had his daughter had her fifth wheel stolen here about a year ago, and they were coming back from Springfield, and there it was on this in a park on the side of the road. And they called the sheriff, and sure enough, the VIN numbers matched, and the trailer was in okay condition. And they found out that the same guy that is renting that to her also stole the little one about a year before that. And so they're going to get them both back.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Like, I've actually got a story similar to that. Long time ago, I had an RP3 processor that I signed the inside of it,
Yeah.
Because that's what I used to do with all my equipment when I played guitar when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I had marked it, the top of it, with a what do you call it? A punch for leather.
Yeah.
I took it and I put it in a specific spot and I hit it just so it made a specific indent on a specific spot. Right. So I would always know it was mine if I ever seen it again. Last year I was on reverb.com where you can buy guitars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually seen it on there for sale as non-working. So I messaged the guy and I was like, hey man, can you open that up and see if my signature's in it? Sure enough, he opened it up and said, there's your signature. Do you want me to ship it to you? I'm like, no, you can have it. It was stolen a long time ago. And I told him the whole story. And he was actually going to send it to me. And he asked me if I knew anything about why it wasn't working. And I told him exactly how to fix it. Because there's on the circuit board, one of the legs of the thing is off of the circuit board because there's like, you have to bridge it with some solder once in a while because it doesn't actually touch the contact it's supposed to. Because there's no hole for it to go into, so it just sits there, and you got to solder it, right? And he fixed it, and he's using it to this day.
Yeah. Well,
the post is still there on there too, and you can see that he took the post down after I talked to him. It's still on Reverb. It's funny.
well, you know.
Go ahead.
It's okay. Hope right after that ended the public speaking. Now we're going to get to hear the ordinance. Okay.
Good.
What they've done on this in order to be able to not get sued, okay, for breaking Constitution, okay, is they're allowing them in a certain section that rolls up its sidewalks at 6 o'clock normally, okay. But the cost of the permits and the amount of insurance you got to carry is a deterrent. So they put up a deterrent, but they have to allow it constitutionally.
That sounds funny, but I thought that that first or the second guy, or no, not the third or fourth person asked something about that, and I thought they said that was a myth.
No. That they thought they were going to put it down at the landing. That's a myth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Never mind. All right, I got you. That part didn't make sense to me. I was like, well, yeah. Now it does. Thank you.
Yeah. They're restricting it to a part of old downtown Branson that people hardly ever go to anymore because the landing came in and the shops are so much better now. Now, the quaint little old town Main Street stores, that still gets a lot of business. But when you get down on the other end by Guido's and that sort of, or the pizza shop or that sort of thing, there's very little actual tourism that has been going down in that area. But that's okay. We give you a spot where you can have that. This is the adult entertainment area. Okay, we're going to try to build it up with adult entertainment. But in order to have a drag queen show, you got to have X number of insurance. You have to have so much. You got to have a permit. And wait till you hear this ordinance.
Yeah, well, and they should actually be happy about that they're going to zone an area for them.
Yeah,
like because that can show if they're going to fail in the area or if they're going to bloom in the area. Because even if it's an area that people don't go to, if they're wanting to go to this thing, they're going to travel to it.
Right. And so the thing is as if the tourists don't go to it, they won't be in business long. It's kind of like Bud Light. All right.
Yeah, I know.
Bud Light and Target, let the people, we don't have to have it on the ballot. We don't have to have a vote. We just don't participate. We just, the beer sits in the cabinet at the grocery store till they return it to Anheuser-Busch because it does not sell. When they can't pay their exorbitant insurance and they can't pay their exorbitant rent on a building in the downtown Branson area, when they can't afford to do it anymore, they'll leave.
Yeah, that's another point I was going to make, and you just made it for me. Thank you.
And no constitutional rights will have been stepped on.
They're just mad they don't get to groom everybody like they did that girl. That was sad. Like, she was kind of cute too. Yeah. That's just sad to see someone that beautiful turn against everything.
Yeah.
And like,
Well,
wow.
that's the thing, is that this is it's either going to blow in or blow over. But I do know that the Board of Aldermen and the city attorney did a lot of research in order to come up with this ordinance. Okay? And like he tried to say at the beginning, before everybody insisted on getting up there and speaking, can we have the public speaking after we read the ordinance? No, they didn't want that. So most of them was up there with no real understanding of the ordinance.
Yeah, true. I was wondering why they didn't do the ordinance first. Like, isn't that how it's normally done?
No. The public speaking comes before the agenda. Okay?
It should be the opposite, though, I think. It really should.
Anyhow, Melton offered to break rules of order and have the ordinance read by the attorney before everybody decided to get up and speak. Can't go by Bible. They didn't take an oath to the Bible. They may have placed their hand on a Bible when they took their oath, but they took their oath to the Constitution of the United States. And just as we don't want our rights stepped on, no one individually, don't care what their race, creed, color, or sexual orientation is, they have the same constitutional rights as I have. We can limit the area in which they can participate in those rights. Just as the city of Branson limits where you can have a protest. In order to have a protest in the city limits of Branson, you must get a permit. That permit must state a place, a start time, and an ending time of the protest. So they limited it by doing it that way. Well, they're limiting this too in the ordinance, as I understand it, from listening to the city attorney 2 weeks ago present it to the board for the first time to be considered. That's why the drag queens were griping about the ordinance too. Well, you're going to put us in a box. Well, okay. You're going to put limits on us. Well, and then the other people, they don't understand it because they want to have it just go by their religious beliefs here, the faith here, and absolutely ban it. You can't do that and hold up the Constitution. Can't.
Yep, true.
And although I would like to see it absolutely gone from Branson. I don't mind female impersonations. Okay? We do have great female impersonators. But when you want to make it if I had made my convoy of honor the convoy attitude you saw in the movie, they'd never want us back here again. Okay? If they could just change the wording and make it a female, how about make it a kabuki show? Okay? I mean, we've got the acrobats of China and that sort of thing. If you want to be drag queens, make it an Americanized kabuki show. What is that? That's a female impersonation show. Okay? Change the words. I don't have a rally in Branson in November. I'm not having a rally. In order to have a rally, I have to have a permit. And I'm not having a rally. I'm having a hootenanny. All I did was change the words. And
Well, here they're coming back, I believe. I see their cursor is moving on the screen. I guess they're about to start.
Yep.
Value of the month, safety. Maintaining an environment free from harm is what it says on screen, but we can't see that. Can you take down Wendy B's?
How do I do that?
Just click on the one that's highlighted and it'll go away.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, it still doesn't show. That's weird. Oh, well. Click the last button in the center of the screen right there. So it puts that full up so everybody can read the thing for themselves. Hide us, I mean. There you go. Well, it's definitely harming the children. It's going to. It's going to eventually harm the children. Probably not the ones that were there today, but like their buddies that are doing the bad shows are coming, and they're going to be relentless, and it's going to be a lot worse than the ones that are there now. That's the whole point, I believe. You can go ahead and show us again. I just wanted everybody to be able to see what it says on the screen. Someone's tapping on the mic.
I forgot how I got us.
It's the one right next to the one that you just pressed. It's the one right next to it, to the left.
Next is the consent agenda. Are there
There
any
you go.
items
You
that
got
any
it.
member of the audience would like to have moved down from the consent agenda to ask questions? Any members of the board? Hearing none. Oh, Marshall?
Oh, consent agenda. Sorry.
Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please read the consent agenda?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the July 11th, 2023 study session and July 11th, 2023 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of Advisory Park Board minutes for the May 16th, 2023 and June 20th, 2023 regular meetings. Acknowledge receipt of Planning Commission regular meeting minutes for the June 6th, 2023 meeting. Acknowledgement of disbursements for May 18th, 2023 through July 7th, 2023. Final reading of Bill Number 6332, an ordinance approving the 2023 salary structure and pay guidelines for the City of Branson Utilities Department. And final reading of Bill Number 6334, an ordinance approving the renewal of the contract with Public Water Supply District Number 3 of Taney County for water termination and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Hillary. Do I have a motion approving the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Did you get those, Hillary?
Yes, sir.
Madam Clerk, would you provide a roll call vote for consent agenda, please?
Fenton?
Yes.
Denham?
Yes.
Cooper? Howden?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
LeBlanc?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Your Your Honor, the next item is a public hearing and first reading of Bill Number 6335, an ordinance amending Section 94-5, 94-60, and 94-62 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to drag shows.
Here it is.
We will now open up a public hearing and begin with a staff report from Joe Lauber.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, a few comments for you this evening to introduce the proposed ordinance before you. Before I get into the details of the proposed ordinance to be considered tonight by the Board of Aldermen, it is important to mention a couple of big picture concepts. Currently, the city's zoning ordinance permits drag shows anywhere in the city where live entertainment is allowed. Without adopting an ordinance that is at least similar to the ordinance that is proposed this evening, drag shows would continue to be permitted throughout the city of Branson where live entertainment is permitted. At its essence, this ordinance defines a subset of live entertainment, drag shows, and limits where those performances may be performed. This ordinance would limit the use of property for drag shows to the same district that adult entertainment is permitted in the city, and would subject drag shows to special use requirements that are very similar to the requirements for adult entertainment facilities. Currently, the city's Unified Development Ordinance or zoning code permits many uses, among those theater. Theater is defined as a building, room, or other setting for showing movies or for where plays, dramatic presentations, and other live entertainment is performed. Also, the city's zoning ordinance defines adult entertainment facilities. Those are a place where patrons either engage in personal contact with or allow personal contact by employees, devices, or equipment, or by personnel provided by the establishment which appeals to the prurient interests of patrons, or observe any live presentation, videotape, or film presentation of persons wholly or partially nude with their genitals or pubic region exposed or covered only with transparent or opaque covering, or in the case of female persons with the areola and nipple of the breast exposed or covered only with transparent or opaque covering, or to observe specified sexual activities as said term is defined herein. Drag shows are not specifically permitted under the city zoning code, but as I suggested, and as I will tell you, is it qualifies as live entertainment. Drag shows do not typically rise to the level of adult entertainment as it is defined in the city code. If performers in drag performances or any live entertainment performances in the city would cross the line meeting the definition of adult entertainment, then we would have means to enforce that type of activity through our existing code. Without a specific definition, live entertainment, without a specific definition, drag shows would be live entertainment, which is permitted under that definition of theater. Thus, drag shows would be allowed anywhere where live entertainment is permitted. Based on public comments received by this board and the mayor in May, the mayor directed staff to begin work on an ordinance regulating drag performances in the city. I provided a legal analysis of the issues to the proposed ordinance to the Board of Aldermen in executive session. The general consensus of the board was for staff to continue with the mayor's direction, which leads us to this evening's hearing. A proposed ordinance was submitted to the Planning Commission, which held a public hearing on July 6th. After a couple of modifications, the Planning Commission recommended the Board of Aldermen to approve the ordinance by a 7-2 vote. Before you this evening is the proposed ordinance coming from the Planning Commission as amended by that commission. Chad, if you would you put up the ordinance, please? Without getting into detail or divulging privileged legal conversations that I have had with this board, It is constitutionally challenging to create legislation
Hide us again, Mona.
as which has been requested.
Hide us again.
The city must comply with the United States and Missouri constitutions, the United States Civil Rights Act, and the city's ordinances, which protect free speech and expression and prohibit gender discrimination. For the most part, regulation of the activities that form the subject of this proposed ordinance is better left to individuals, the free market, or private or nonprofit organizations, including religious institutions. These persons and organizations do not have the same constitutional limitations that the city does. An ordinance regulating drag performances must be carefully drafted to consider constitutional protections of free expression and not be discriminatory on the basis of gender. With those considerations in place, I'll go through the ordinance with you this evening. It is important as you begin to look at this ordinance to look at the ordinance as a whole and not get lost in the details of the individual sections of this ordinance. At the most basic level, the proposed ordinance imposes tighter restrictions on drag shows through a balance of 3 elements, for which I will provide more detail during the remainder of this presentation. Those 3 elements are defining drag show and drag show establishment, limiting drag shows to the city's downtown zoning district, and creating special use permit requirements before property may be used for drag shows. So Chad, if I'd have you scroll down, please, to
You get that special use permits?
first.
Yeah, give us
Section,
money
maybe
and
on the
we'll let you
second
do
page
it. Yeah, I heard loud and clear.
But they make it real expensive.
So a little bit further, please. We're going to put the 94 to the top. Thank you. So first, we will talk about the definition of drag show, which is section 1 of the ordinance. Under the proposed definition, a drag show is all or any portion of a live entertainment performance where the characteristics of men or women are exaggerated by an in-person adult or group of adults impersonating male or female characters while wearing extravagant costumes, including clothes, accessories, makeup, or removable prosthetics, excluding limb or eye prosthetics. And so in addition to that first subset, it would also require the performance to include jokes, references, dancing, singing, or any other conduct that depicts, describes, or is related to specified sexual activities, or the group is paid for the performance or patrons are charged to attend the performance. In addition to the drag show definition, we have created the proposed ordinance creates a definition for drag show establishment. And that is an establishment at which a drag show is or has been offered as live entertainment. Beyond the definitions, you'll see then that the next article deals with uses. Section 94-60 is a component of the city's zoning table, and you'll see that the definition of drag show, through the ordinance, the definition of drag show appears, and then drag show would be listed as in the D district as an S or special use permit. Real quick, let's see. Go ahead and put that map back up, please. This is a map showing a component of the city's zoning districts. And you can see here the area that is kind of a dark red and kind of outlined in purple. That is the city's downtown district. For frame of reference, you see Lake Taneycomo to the east. The light blue is the Branson Landing, and then you can see going on up the hill towards 65 towards the left or the west piece of this. So the area that would be permitted for drag shows to occur would be in this area subject to the special use permit requirements. Thank you, Chad. You can go back to the ordinance. The downtown district was selected because while drag shows typically do not qualify as adult entertainment as defined in the city's UDO, these activities are similar to adult entertainment, so it would be preferable to treat them similarly. Adult entertainment is permitted in the downtown district with a special use permit. The next section of the proposed ordinance is section that it would cover 94-62, which it would include special use standards. Chad, I sent you a red line document. If you'd put that up, please. Oh, it doesn't show the red line. Is there a way to show the comparison or?
Check in here. Council, one moment. I just didn't open it before you sent, or after you sent it, sorry.
We'll see if Chad can get that pulled up. Unfortunately, the red line that I had created would actually show what we have done with respect to the special use standards and comparing adult entertainment and drag shows. There it is, thank you. This is a comparison that would show the text that remains in just the black font is language that is identical between the special use standards for adult entertainment and for the drag shows. The language that you see in the strike through or the red would show you how the special use standards have been changed from the current adult use standards for the drag show. As you can see, it essentially is places where we have to define, we use the definition of drag show, we describe a drag show, and it replaces what was there for adult entertainment. And then you can kind of see, and that happens in those first, 3 or so sections. And then as you scroll down through the special use permits, then you can see that it's essentially just replacing adult entertainment with drag show. So the treatment of drag shows in this circumstance will be identical virtually to adult entertainment. Those special use standards are going to be, like verbatim off of what's already required for adult entertainment in the same district. If you'll go back then, Chad, to the full ordinance. So that comparison will show then that in this section, drag shows is subsection 3. You'll see there at line 112 begins what the requirements are. And so you can see in A, it says no drag show or drag show establishment shall allow minors to attend the performance unless a parent or legal guardian allows the minor to attend the performance. If a drag show occurs at an establishment with an alcohol license, the establishment must comply with age restrictions for employees and patrons as described in the city's code for alcoholic beverages. I would like to make a note that when this ordinance came through the Planning Commission, there was a lot of discussion about that particular issue with allowing minors. At the Planning Commission, I don't know if it was an oversight, it was just missed or not. The Planning Commission, as you know, made certain edits to the proposed ordinance. This was not something that was changed. What I will share with the board is if this is an area that you want to change, you absolutely have the ability to do that. You as the city's legislature can go exactly with what a Planning Commission says. You can go completely 180 degrees a different direction, and you can go pretty much anywhere in between. So if you had an interest in maybe saying, essentially from having a parent or legal guardian's permission to allow a minor to attend, that the minor would have to attend with their parent, that's something you could do. If you wanted to say that minors cannot attend at all, you could say that. So you can make changes to this, and I will bring that up because that is an issue that has been raised and has been brought to my attention in the time since the Planning Commission. So I'm sharing that with you this evening. In addition to, I'm just going to kind of paraphrase the remainder of the special use permit requirements. It prohibits shows within 600 feet of a church, school, park, or residentially zoned property. No shows would be permitted within 600 feet of another approved show or an establishment serving alcoholic beverages. You would have to have access through a thoroughfare. a minimum of 100 feet of street frontage. There will be screening requirements, setback requirements. You can't have windows that would allow the performances to be seen from the outside, signage limits, parking lot requirements, and the hours cannot exceed 8 to midnight, Sunday through Thursday, and 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Friday through Saturday. Of course, we understand that 1 a.m. is actually Sunday, but we, again, tried to keep this language identical to the adult business language that you saw in that red line a few minutes ago. That is my presentation on the ordinance itself, and happy to answer questions, or I can stand by after public comment and answer further questions if needed.
So at this time, what I'd like to do is hear comments from the alderman. Marshall?
Joe? Okay, so I just want to say this. There's been a couple kind of misnomers that have been placed out there today. One of them being that under the way that this is written, Kathy Rigby's Peter Pan does not qualify under this as a drag show.
Assuming that Kathy Rigby's Peter Pan is not one that is filled with sexual innuendo, sexual jokes, and so forth, that would be correct.
Right. And that's really what I want to key on as an alderman, because that's actually the only way I would support something is if it was actually restricting a sexual activity of a sexual.
I'm just going to pause for just a second, Mona. Should I prepare for fibbage or cancel it? Wendy says. I'm definitely going to be there. I'm thinking that the whole ordinance has already been done.
I've heard the ordinance, and that's what I wanted to hear. I'm ready to go play fibbage.
All right. So there you
everybody,
go.
you can log on to Branson meeting and if you want to hear any more. But that's
here. Let me give them a link to it. Here's a link. That's your link. Never mind. Hold on. I got to get the link over here.
Or you could join us over on Wendy, put Wendy's link in there and play some cribbage with us. It's a great game.
Still a half hour. Yeah, I know.
Got a half hour.
I actually need that time to be able to set up my audio so it works, so I don't have to blow my eardrums. Remember?
Yeah, and I need that time to just get myself ready to come up with some great lies.
Okay, so like, share, and subscribe if you liked this content, and leave us a comment down at the bottom of the video there in the comment section, and let us know what you think. And
what I have to say here before I go is that what they have done, if you go back to the map that they had, take a look. I know that area very, very well. And right on the corner by Veterans Park downtown is a church. If you go less than 150 feet away, you're going to come to a theater. About 100 feet from that, you're going to come to another theater. And they can't be within so many feet of a theater. They can't be within so many feet of a church. And there ain't many buildings down there. It's the old town. And in fact, the only building downtown in the area they're talking about would be the one at the end of Commercial Street, but there's a little indoor mall there. They would have to buy the building and open it up somehow. So they've limited them in space. And they're putting a pretty hefty insurance and special use fee. So the object is no, you feel welcome to come in and have a drag show in our town if you can find a building that fits the requirements. Get the people to lease it to you, because those buildings have been leased by old families for years upon years. They don't switch hands very often. And so it's like, I don't think Motown downtown will give up their theater. And they can't do it anyway because it's still too close to the old Owens Theater. But wait a minute. No, Dick's 5 and Dime ain't going anywhere. It's been there for too dang long. Got too big established. And, I can't think of a single building in downtown Branson, the adult entertainment section they put off, because it'll never be adult entertainment. It's the farmhouse restaurant and the Victorian store and Dick's 5 and Dime. There's a church and there's in other words, you can have it if you can find a place to hold it that meets with these requirements.
Mona, Wendy B of AZ said, can you do a part 2 tomorrow on their vote? I'll help you do it if you want. So
sure.
Sure, we'll do that. There you go.
Yeah, we
that
certainly
sounds
will.
fun.
Yeah. Okay, guys, go live for just a minute, babe.
All right. I'm gonna wait for her to set up her stream, and then I'm gonna go over there and start setting up my audio.
Okay,
So
we'll go live back on the thing. They may be voting already.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So
without this ordinance, that will continue to be the case. If this ordinance is passed, then what we have under the general law of zoning is a use that has been established before it has been prohibited by zoning is allowed to continue at the same level, the same scope, until at some point it is either abandoned or somehow the use is destroyed. And that is what is called a legal non-conforming use. Sometimes people will call that grandfathering. So without the ordinance, they are not grandfathered, but they are permitted to do exactly what they're doing. It is not illegal for Glen shows to do the show currently.
So this ordinance doesn't stop anything. It just gives perception that we want drag shows downtown.
What it would do is, to the extent, because not every business in a live entertainment district is offering drag shows, correct? So to the extent that if you pass this ordinance, to the extent that there are businesses offering drag shows, they would be able to do that and continue that at the same scope they had been doing it previously. Okay. Going forward, where drag shows could be located is the downtown district, subject to the special use requirements, identical to a strip club.
Is it within the last 12 months? I heard that rumor floating around out there. That's not. In other words, if a business would have had to have done this within the last 12 months to meet that legal non-conforming, you're saying that's not accurate?
It would be up to city staff to determine what the scope of their existing use is at the time that you put the ordinance in place. And then that was the scope that would be set going forward. And they cannot expand that scope.
Go ahead, Chuck.
I'm just at a loss here. I don't understand why we're moving this downtown and why we're even doing this, to be honest. If they're not breaking any rules right now, it seems like we're wasting time here.
It's just a question of whether you want to create rules going forward.
Even those rules that you've stated, I mean, they still don't fall underneath adult entertainment. Unless they do something wrong, which could be anywhere.
I think the point of the ordinance is this: you allow live entertainment, you also allow adult entertainment. Drag shows are live entertainment; they don't rise to the level of adult entertainment. If you create a definition of drag shows, then they're their own thing, and then you can apply your zoning ordinance to that thing that you have created through the definition of drag shows.
That sounds like we're targeting a specific sexual group.
You're allowed to do that with adult businesses as well. This is why it's identical to the adult business ordinance. We do allow that adult businesses that I described earlier, those are allowed in the city's downtown district with a special use permit.
How would this affect, there's performers out there. There's one band in particular where the lead singer never wears a shirt. He's all baby oiled up, always on stage. He's a little perverted, said some things he shouldn't say. Is that going to affect him?
He's not wearing a shirt.
Not wearing a shirt ever.
And it sounds like he's a male. He's not being. He's not dressing as a female. He's not wearing extravagant costumes. He's not wearing makeup or prosthetics.
Was that? He's not doing any of that, as far as I know.
Okay, then it wouldn't fall under drag.
Wouldn't fall underneath that. Okay. So we allow a man to sing and be vulgar and be baby oiled up with no shirt on, but a man fully dressed doing an impersonation as a female, singing, entertaining, and telling jokes. That just doesn't seem right.
Well, and Joe, and that's what I wanted to address. This ordinance really is about the sexual component of that, because even as you guys permitted, JoJo T. Roy, like, you're not doing sexual things. You guys are singing and dancing. This ordinance is identifying the difference between what you guys are doing as a drag show and what you don't want to see as a drag show in this community. And that's, in essence, when the sexual content component of that comes in, that's what we're addressing. Because as it is right now, if it were just to let drag shows can go up and down anywhere in town, right? What this is limiting is the drag shows that you guys don't want to be here, that we don't want to be here, okay? And that's the thing that I think that we're kind of missing. We're kind of getting lost in the emotion of the drag show deal, but really it's about that sexual activity and sexual content. That is what we're zoning into the downtown district, because adult entertainment is already down there. And so that's what this is. More than anything, it doesn't exclude a drag show. It excludes a drag show with sexual activity and innuendo. Am I correct on that?
Except for what Alderman Howden pointed out, which is if it were for pay.
Under this, Kathy Rigby's Peter Pan is banned under this because she's paid for that.
That could be the case.
She paid that money.
So
money.
what you're talking about,
That's all it's about, right?
The sexual nature of things would fall underneath adult.
Has she been ready to go live yet?
Essentially,
No,
what I've been asked to do.
I have
with
to
this
set up my
ordinance is
audio,
create
but
a
we're
definition
doing
of
this. So
drag
No,
show that
I
is
gotta wait till
similar
we're done
to
here.
adult entertainment.
Go ahead
We
and
already have one
go.
for adult entertainment, so it's
Oh,
still doesn't feel
alrighty.
like we're targeting
Well, I only need about 15 minutes, so we got about
people in
our 5 more
community that
minutes,
don't like
I
the
think, that
lifestyle.
we can go.
Like the adult entertainment ordinance we already have should cover everything.
Yeah. I mean, Alderman Rodriguez, you're entitled to your personal opinion. But what I would say is this ordinance from a gender, if you're getting at whether that's a gender discrimination issue, this ordinance doesn't care whether it's a man dressed as a woman or a woman dressed as a man. It is applicable to any gender identifying as a different gender and subverting, the gender stereotypes.
My reading of that is that based on what you're saying, the adult entertainment currently has to involve removing clothes, right?
Yeah,
Basically, it's right. So that doesn't fit within this.
Full or partial nudity.
And yet part of the argument that I've had back and forth with some people is that I understand there may be a flavor of drag show where it's just you walk down and it's sort of comedy based this is what's been thrown at me, right? But again, it doesn't meet that. So that's where there could be a scenario, and we don't want to get graphic in any way, but the grinding and the certain sexual kind of movements, the community is asking, this is what I heard. The community is asking for us to put a drag show that involves those.
It's so confusing.
Well, thank you for everybody that joined the stream. Mona, you need to come back in and shut down the stream. You forgot to shut it down. Like, share, and subscribe. And hopefully Mona will come back and she will end the live stream because she forgot to stop it. But anyways, have a good night, guys. I'm going to be going over to Wendy B of AZ, and we're going to be setting up for Fibbage over there. And we'll see you over there as soon as possible.